I wanna be the very best that no one's ever seen. Duh, duh, duh. Of a Pokemon. I may have forgotten the words.
I was beginning to wonder, yes.
I remember the first line, and it just all went to shit.
I'm not even sure that was the first line, surely? Sound like a line from later on from a verse that most people don't remember.
I had that image in my voice when I was trying to do it, just of the Smosh video. I just trying to remember how did they do it.
I mean, I would try to bail you out on this one, sing it, but I'm not entirely sure I can remember it offhand now.
Well, can
I
you
want to
remember?
be the very best, like no one ever was.
Oh yeah, it
Catch
was.
them all is my
That's
real
my real
test.
test. To train
Train
them
them
win
is
is
my
my
cause.
cause.
There we go.
There
We
we
know
go.
the first verse.
I think we've salvaged that between us.
Yeah, if that's what you want to call it, yes. Consider it salvaged.
Introduce the damn show.
Welcome to the Button Mash Podcast. That was supposedly the Pokemon theme tune, as sung by both myself and Michael this week.
Hello, I am sorry.
We are joined this week by Will, as usual.
Hi.
I've got to do the poker rap next week. This is off to a very
Well,
bad start.
You didn't make a lot of effort to learn it this week. You just assumed you'd know it. So you've got a week to learn now. You've got it planned. You know what you're doing. Get learning.
Is there a course I can go on?
Yes, you can go to Pokemon University and major in theme tune studies.
No, but I dropped out for the first day when I realised Professor Oak wasn't taking the class.
No, it's Professor Elm. It's one of those dodgy knockoffs from the later generations.
Professor Elmy was a dick.
Anyway, yes, we are the Button Mash Podcast. We are going to be here for somewhere around 2 hours talking about video games and video game accessories. And hopefully singing less theme tunes rather badly. Is that the first one we've ever done that was actually video game themed?
No, I'm sure I've done Sonic before.
Did you do...
Yeah.
Did you? I don't remember that.
Oh,
I
wait.
feel like they were all TV shows that we've done so far, which is like completely irrelevant to what we do. So it's like this is the first one that I can remember, at any rate, that's actually been appropriate for a video game podcast, and we managed to stuff it up royally.
I mean, I can do the Game Boy thing, which was da 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 da.
That's Danny Boy, isn't
it? Oh, Danny Boy! No, no. Well, let me go get my Game Boy Color and I'll play it over the microphone.
Oh my god, really?
No, that would require effort.
Also, I don't remember a Game Boy theme tune, to be honest. Or are you talking about the Pokemon?
Talk about Pokemon Red.
Oh, the Pokemon theme
Blue.
tune on the Game Boy.
Yeah,
It was dun 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 dun. Yeah, another one.
it had several, didn't it?
Well, probably, but I know what you're talking about. I presume you're talking about Red and Blue, right? The
Yeah.
definitive ones here. Yeah, of course. Okay.
Every other
There
version
aren't
is
any
crap.
other games that refuse to acknowledge any other games.
It's a shame they never made a sequel to Pokemon Red and Blue, isn't it? That would have been such a
made
good game.
so
to...
much money.
Yeah, I know.
Marketing has been missed.
We're not old and jaded. Not at all.
You just know there's some next gen players going with just like a tear rolling down his eyes. Well, I love that.
I know one. I can definitely name one. Certainly that I'm pretty sure might be listening to this. Who's going to be very angry now that we just said that?
I think we probably lost him in the first minute when I screwed up the Pokemon thing.
Possibly. Anyway, do we want to actually make a motion in towards actually doing things? So, what we know to begin, you typically begin with is our gaming experiences for the week. So, why don't you all tell us what you've been playing?
Alright, this week I've played a little bit more of Alien Isolation.
Didn't see that coming.
Ooh.
No, I'm still enthralled. But now I have the flamethrower, so I'm feeling
Ooh.
a little bit less vulnerable now that I can dispel the alien as soon as it appears.
A good flamethrower
Yeah.
will do that for you.
Does that not like negate the entire game?
No, because you only have a limited amount of fuel.
Okay.
It's really stingy with all ammunition in the game. I think I've got I've got a revolver and the flamethrower, and those are my only two ranged weapons that I don't have to craft.
Okay.
So
So you get like one brief half-second of flame, and then it burns out, and you're like, ah, crap. Hit it round the head with the flamethrower now.
you get around
That would be a
500 fuel ammo. I don't quite know what the value of one fuel ammo is, but it seems to burn through rather quickly.
Okay.
Are you able to restock regularly, or is it difficult to refuel?
I've so far found a little tiny bit of flame ammo on a corpse. That's it so far.
So once it's gone, it's gone, mostly.
Yeah.
Alright.
But I've only
then, yeah.
yeah, I've only just got it, and I must have used it maybe 5 times, and all in quick succession. It doesn't seem to get rid of the alien in any kind of permanent way.
Have you tried, maybe, with the alien, using the secret of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the secret of the use tactic of using your words to reason with the alien?
I have not.
You're missing a trick.
We're always with the well-known references there.
Hey, everyone knows Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
I'm not familiar with the reasoning with oozes, but okay.
Ooze was popular in the 90s. Every film had ooze.
Okay. Did it have its own sitcom?
Well, it had a animated cartoon, but
Had a cameo on Friends.
the ooze used to be on Friends.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, so it's something, you know, mid-season where things are, you know, ratings are down a bit. It's like, hey, everybody, it's the ooze! Hey! And then,
It's dating Chandler.
yeah, basically. Alternate history. I don't know.
I take it there's no. Is there any ooze in the game? Well,
No, not as such. Oh, unless you count the dripping saliva from the vents. Whenever that's the only way you can tell if an alien's up above you in the vents.
Maybe the alien teamed up with the ooze.
Maybe.
that's
Maybe
a
it
spin-off
consumed the ooze and it's now regurgitating it.
Fair enough.
game. That's a film right there.
When the
That's
alien
it.
met
Prometheus
the ooze.
2.
It would have been better
All
than
about
the
the
previous
ooze.
one.
I'm not familiar with those, so
Have you not seen Prometheus?
I don't believe I did, no.
I'm one of the few that love Prometheus.
Okay.
I thought it was all right.
Well, I went in and watched it, not expecting to compare it to any of the other Alien films. So I think that's why I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to have viewed it.
Okay.
Movie reviews brought
Yeah.
to you by Buttermash Podcast.
Well, movies are not a thing I do, so the moment you guys stray into movies, I'm like, well, I'm out. See you later. You guys talk about movies.
It's not even a current thing. Prometheus 2 is way off the distance, so we should probably just carry on.
Welcome to the movie podcast, brought to you by those guys.
Hey, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Prometheus. We're shoehorning them in.
Right.
So anyway, well, the game.
The game. I'm not much further in than that, but it is nice to be able to just get rid of the alien as it's about to claw you to death in its annoyingly efficient manner.
Yeah, you don't want to be clawed in efficiently.
No.
I mean, you mentioned wanting rid of it permanently. Again, is that not like, come on, it's the Alien game. Sure. Do you actually get rid of it permanently in the end? Do you kill the alien?
I'd hope so.
But then they can never make anything else alien ever again because you killed it.
But there's still, well, obviously there's still other alien stuff because Aliens happened, Alien 3 happened, Alien Resurrection happened, unfortunately, and then AVP happened, unfortunately, again. So, alien stuff does still happen if I do manage to kill this alien at the end.
It probably forces you to watch Predator versus Alien.
That's just the final credits.
No, I think it'll be the end of Alien 2, probably the game where the alien sneaks aboard the ship.
I think this is, from what I can gather, story-wise, which isn't quite a lot just yet, is the original alien that Ellen Ripley faced. it somehow managed to survive and is now tearing everybody limb from limb.
Okay.
Very inconsiderate.
Yeah, it's not a work of fiction I'm particularly au fait with, so I don't know. All I know is it's after most of the other stuff, isn't it? It's set story wise. It's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
a sequel to everything else that precedes it.
Well, it's
Is it
in between Alien 1 and Aliens, the
is it?
second
Okay,
film.
I thought it was after everything. Okay, right.
No, it's 15 years after the original film and something like 42 years before the second film.
Okay, right.
Because there's this whole thing where Ellen Ripley gets stasis frozen and drifts around in space for a very, very long time. And then the second film happens.
Okay, right. So Red Dwarf, basically.
Yeah.
That's my frame of reference. There's a song for you.
There we go. That's a good one.
Is that next week's or the poker rap?
Well, you've got Poker Rap scheduled for next week, so...
Yes, you have to redeem yourself first.
Well, I'm currently living in the shame box.
You'll sing the song of redemption.
Considering it's the poker rap, you know that's not going to go well.
Well, I'll let you write the lyrics down if you want.
It'll still go wrong.
Anyone playing anything else?
Well, I've also been playing a little bit of Evil Within. I just managed to squeeze in an hour today, and from what my original prognosis on it is the bastard child of the original Resident Evil GameCube game, Silent Hill Homecoming, and Alone in the Dark. It's also with a little bit of film noir in the appearance, so it's got some good features in it.
Those are mostly frames of reference that, again, I can't relate to. You play too much horror for my tastes. Like,
probably do.
I barely touch the damn genre. Because I'm just the sort of person who's like, oh boy, jump scares again.
But you're right, you're going to have to play some horror games for Halloween next week.
I've not made any plans to, particularly.
This is what I've been gearing up to. I'm such a Halloween freak that I've been playing horror games all month.
Right.
Just to get me in the mood.
I mean, I played Poltergeist, which was sent to me as like, oh, it's coming up to Halloween, and we've made a game that's vaguely horror themed. Here, have it. And it's not a horror game. It's a horror themed game. But it's horror game in the sense that, like, Costume Quest was a horror game. It's not. It's Halloween themed. It's got ghosts in it, but it's not scaring you. I mean, Poltergeist was a puzzle game. It was about strategically scare. You are the ghost in it. Your job is to scare other people in the game out of the house. It's like, yeah, thematically appropriate for the season, but by no means in any way, shape, or form a horror game.
Would you be insulted if I said that sounded a bit like a 90s sitcom?
No, that sounds like a 90s sitcom.
You were forced to admit that one, weren't you?
Yeah, well, now that he mentions it, yeah.
I'm trying to think of a good 90s sitcom star that would have been the ghost.
I don't know, I'm not well up on my 90s sitcoms outside of, like, Friends.
Who played the kid in Smart Guy?
I don't know, I don't even know what that is.
John.
I play video games, I don't consume any other media, damn it.
Oh dear.
So, yeah, have you got far enough in to be able to tell us much about The Evil Within, or is it still just I'm starting?
I'm into the second chapter. The first chapter was really short. It's kind of set 3 police agents going to a mental asylum that has just been turned into a bloodbath, and I was surprised that by the end of the first chapter I actually managed to escape the building and got away, which is really unusual for a horror game. You don't usually get to leave the scene of the crime. Yeah. But then chaos ensues, and it's actually the whole city that's crumbling apart and shifting in a tectonic manner.
Ooh.
So it's kind of like, oh, I managed to escape. I'm still pretty damn screwed.
Okay, fair enough. Sounds like an interesting concept. What sort of game is it? You say, is it like
It's
your Resident Evils or whatever?
third person, over the shoulder kind of shooter, kind of like Resident Evil 4, but plays more like the GameCube version.
Resident Evil 4 was GameCube.
Was it?
Yeah, it was originally GameCube. They made it for other stuff later, but it was a GameCube exclusive for the longest time because it was it was the poster child of, hey, everybody, the GameCube can actually do mature titles. It's not all Mario.
Yes, it's because I played it on PS2,
Right.
and then again, it went on to PS3 as well, didn't it? Re-released it.
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah, they did.
So, yeah. Well, what I'm really referring to is the original GameCube Resident Evil that doesn't seem to have any numbers or anything after it.
Again, 4 was the first one, but okay.
Resident Evil 4 was the first one.
The first one on the GameCube, yeah.
No, it wasn't. There was one before that. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Very, very sure.
Okay.
He's not lying to you.
Okay.
There was Resident Evil, and I think it was Resident Evil 0, and then they skipped a few titles, I think, and went on to 4.
Okay, fair play. Okay. I was a big GameCube fan back in the day, and I distinctly remember getting a lot of flack. The console got a lot of flack from its detractors, from fanboys of other consoles and stuff. It was school days at the time. Everybody could only afford one console, so weren't in the privileged position of having a job and being able to afford them all. So you kind of picked a faction and went with it. And I was GameCube, and I had a lot of people going, "Oh, it's just all Mario. It's for kids. Why are you playing a console for kids?"
Yeah.
It's like there was like 2 games that you could point to on the GameCube and say, "Hey, look at this. It's not for kids." It was Resident Evil 4 and Eternal Darkness were the 2.
Ah.
I loved Eternal Darkness.
That is one horror game I have actually played. Yes, that was fantastic.
Yes. This Resident Evil was right at the very beginning, I seem to remember.
All right.
It was a little bit more difficult to play than number 1. Also, it's taken the mechanic from the Resident Evil game that I'm talking about, where you have to burn the bodies of the zombies, otherwise they come back as red zombies.
Oh.
I'm not familiar with that mechanic, but okay.
It was a really horrific thing to have to deal with in that game, because red zombies were a lot faster, they had claws, and they were really hard to kill.
Okay.
But of course, you only have a limited amount of fuel and matches with which to burn them.
So you can't burn everything, right?
You can't burn everything, and you don't have enough bullets to shoot everything, so...
Well, that's you screwed, isn't it, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sounds interesting. Still probably not my cup of tea, to be honest. But, yeah.
But no, that's about as far as I've gone with it. So.
Okay, cool. Now I'm seeing an interesting one under Michael's name on our notes.
Ah.
Go on.
Yes, yesterday I played Dungeons and Dragons.
Good lord.
Yes, good lordy indeed. Is that a sufficient comeback?
Yeah, go on. Elaborate. Tell us about your Dungeons and Dragons experience, because I don't actually have any experience actually playing it. I mean, I would love to, but I don't know anyone who's prepared to step up to that level of geek.
Well, I've got a couple of good friends that play it, and I joined in a game yesterday because yesterday that was the 24-hour Dungeons and Dragons fundraiser thing on.
Oh, was this the For Extra Life then?
Yeah, that's the one.
Ah,
my friend actually gave a donation of $60 to have his have a character. The players in the game were playing to have a character introduced into the game by the dungeon master.
Okay.
Which was introduced in the final hour, apparently, which he was delighted by.
All right, cool. So, hang on, how was this done? Sorry, what is this standard? A bunch of people sat around a table.
Basically, they were playing in a conference room, in there was a dungeon master and there were different characters, but they took it in shifts, so characters would occasionally just womble off, and then new characters would womble in. So it was basically rotating cast of different players.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, they were trying to. They raised their amount, so they did pretty well out of it.
Cool. So, how did you get into this? Were you actually part of the game then? Yeah.
Well, no, my friends came around to my house and brought the set with them, and we just had a game.
Right. Okay.
I was something called a dragon, I think.
Sorry, a dragon?
No,
You were the dragon.
no, I was not a dragon. Sadly, that would have made life so much easier now. I was something. It began with a D. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I was kind of a character that had died and had come back to life, and he was like an assassin shroud person, where he could use magic, but it wasn't magic, but it's like stealth attacks kind of thing.
Sounds like a rogue, to be honest. But...
Yeah, standard rogue, isn't it?
Well, I'm sort of like a rogue, but I died, so I was like an undead character.
Could have an undead rogue, I guess. If it's World of Warcraft, you can definitely.
Yeah, well, there was no free horse in Dungeons and Dragons, which was a disappointment.
Did you buy a horse anyway? Did you save up your money from raiding dungeons and killing dragons and go and buy a horse with your money?
Well, I'm not sure if you're aware about this with Dungeons and Dragons, but it is eternally very slow.
You had 24 hours.
Well, we weren't playing it for 24 hours. We didn't.
Well, why not?
Because I enjoy something called sleep, and I'm not a young man anymore.
Ooh, excuses.
No, we played for a couple of hours, and we had a couple of quests. I killed a couple of kobolds. I tried to keep one as a pet. It didn't turn out very well.
Okay. I can imagine, yeah.
No, it was an interesting experience. I'd play it again.
Cool.
I rolled a critical one, which was fun.
Okay.
Considering at the time I was trying to do an agility test to jump onto a table, and I failed miserably.
Hey, nice. What was the outcome of that then? Well, I can fairly guess, but...
Well, the dungeon master had me fall face first into the table.
Fair enough. I mean, part of me was hoping you'd land on the table would break, and you could hit yourself in the face with the table, but okay.
Well, I was trying to do like an athletic leap over the table so I could get an opportunity of attack, but it didn't quite work out the way I anticipated.
I guess that depends on the imagination of the dungeon master.
Yeah, my first reaction was like, I wanted to be hit in the face with the table.
Well, it was interesting because one of my friends was playing a character with a monocle, and he killed a goblin with his monocle. So the dungeon master, fairly liberal.
That's impressive.
How did that one work then?
Well, the goblin was
logistics of that one past us.
Well, the goblin was on 1 health and was kind of turned into like a ranged attack, and he just threw his monocle at him. He rolled about 19, so it hit, and you had to give the goblin some damage. And
I suppose there has to be a minimum of damage you can deal, and that is a 1, I suppose.
Yeah, goblin died. It was like a James Bond-esque death.
It's a very odd job death, isn't it? Steel
throws
rimmed
a monocle, honestly.
Hey, he took it back out and cleaned it. And put it back
No,
in.
it could have been like a chakra, like a steel rimmed monocle.
Oh, fair enough. That would be painful to wear, I'm fairly sure. It's not something that you would want to carry around in your eye socket, really, if it's got a blade on the edge of it.
Just
walking around with blood dripping down your face. It's like, are you okay? I'm fine.
Stop. Do you have another painkiller?
Do you have a bandage? Or an eye patch?
Could you get me a tetanus shot?
See, we should do some Dungeons and Dragons. That'd be awesome.
Definitely, we should.
We should film it too.
Oh, good lord. To be honest, the Yogscaster's got a thing going on their channel at the minute where they have filmed Dungeons and Dragons, and it's goddamn hilarious. I would love to do something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the production costs are of making something of that kind of scale. It looks very cool, but those guys have money to throw at city projects. We're kind of nobody, I suppose. But I like the idea. I very much like the idea.
Well, I'm game if you are.
We just need some investment.
Yeah.
someone to sponsor Dungeons and Dragons button mesh crew. I don't know. We'll figure something out. We need a witty and clever title. Get on that.
You know what we should do?
What should we do?
Kickstarter.
We could always do that. There's no money in Kickstarter anymore, but, you know.
You never know. I think people could trust us to play with it.
Yeah, you can trust us to play games, definitely.
Yeah, that's about the only thing you can trust us to do.
Play games and drink beer.
Yeah, that's our main role in life.
That seems like a winning plan, yeah. And hey, we've got one successful Kickstarter that we delivered our project on, so we've got a good track record.
You can trust us.
You can trust us more than double fine.
Ooh.
Ooh, indeed.
Burn.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, yeah, let's do some Dungeons & Dragons in the future. That's a plan.
Coolio.
Anyone going to ask me what I've been playing?
What have you been playing, Jonathan?
I've been playing Spiral Knights.
Again, really?
Yeah,
What's on at the moment?
It's Halloween.
Oh, of course.
So Halloween events on.
The Dark Harvest, is it?
Literally today I've passed the 1,000 hours played mark.
Wow, you've beaten me.
Ooh.
Have you not played that? You were like 900 like a year ago.
I dropped off the map. I'm going to check now.
Oh, right.
I feel like this should be a competition between you and Will, so you could knock up the most hours.
Well,
No, 719. That I'm a long way off.
right. I thought you'd like hit the 900 mark at least.
No, I dropped off the map last year and started playing other things.
Yeah, well, for the longest
After it was
time,
all consuming.
Yeah, I was going to say, for a while you were unemployed and played a lot of Spiral Knights, and I had a job, and now the situation's reversed, so...
Yes. No, I have no time at all.
Yeah. Are you saying unemployment is an unfair advantage in the game hours of playing?
Oh, most definitely.
In the competition of how many hours of this game can I play, then yes. We literally have more time to work with.
Yeah, I'm not going to lose any sleep and play this game anymore.
No, I mean, compared to a lot of people, indeed a lot of fans watching my stuff on YouTube, it's...
Jonathan.
Go on.
You have a YouTube?
I was wondering where this is coming. Yes.
And where can people go to watch these outstanding videos that you make?
YouTube.com/button mash empire.
I'm not sure. I know that you can't see this because this is an audio podcast, but I've just thrown a baseball up and I've just hit it out of the park.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, compared to a lot of people who watch my content, I know other people have racked up ridiculously more hours. I mean, yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. It was the final ever episode of the Arsenal podcast, which is the unofficial Spiral Knights podcast. And someone was talking about hours played then, and they were like, oh yeah, I've got like 3,600 hours played. And I was like, that's ridiculous. That's 3.5 times more than me, and I play too much.
Yeah, I thought I played it a lot.
It's 3.5 times too much. So yeah, there's a lot of people out there who racked up ridiculous numbers of hours in Spiral Knights, and oh well, I've got another pet, so I've got that to start working with now because they've done a pumpkin variant of the Masquerade pet for the Halloween event.
I see. Do you have to start that again from scratch then?
Yeah, each new pet starts at level 1.
No, it takes forever.
Well, it's all right. I got my Serafinx up to level 100, technically 102, right. And technically the cap's 105. But I'm really not bothered about those last 3. They don't do that much for you.
I got the Charmander one. I forget what it's called. Charmander. Charmander?
It's Charmander. It's called Charmander.
It's called Charmander now.
Okay, it's called Charmander. Go on.
Yeah. And I was only on level 50, and I was doing it every day. I must have missed a trick or something. I wasn't paying a lot of attention when it was a big thing.
The trick was to throw lots of money and resources at it.
Oh, that's surprising. Really? Tell me more.
Well, your options were grind until the end of eternity, or
I think that's
throw
what I was
lots
doing.
of money at it.
Yep. I was doing it all wrong.
I mean, someone did tell me about someone who was making a very concerted effort to try and level it up just through literally grinding heat and going to the clockworks and trying to get heat from the clockworks. And after like 2 months or so, they'd only got it to like level 5.
Wow.
And it's like, yeah, you can't do that. That's, I mean, I was going in and doing some levels earlier. I mean, I got the new pet and I went in, and level 1 pet, you'd have thought at the very least it'd be reasonably quick to level up from level 1 to level 2. Nope. Did a level, the amount of heat I got didn't even budge the bar one single pixel.
No,
So,
you have to feed it stuff, don't you?
you need to feed it stuff, and you get that stuff by spending money.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit grindy or a bit expensive. Take your pick.
Well, I
No,
remember
that was
at the
grindy.
time I had an unreasonable amount of materials and stuff, and I fed it every day, but I only got to like level 50 or something.
Yeah, even if you've got an unreasonable amount of materials, you still sort of start running out around level 50.
I remember I ran out of materials, and I thought, screw this, I'm not playing this game anymore.
Oh dear.
And
But
that's
yeah.
how my Spiral Knights experience ended.
Right, oh dear.
In bitter disappointment.
In defeat.
I think a lot of people are starting to go that way, unfortunately. Because I mean, as I say, with the Arsenal podcast stopping running yesterday, they've kind of, I don't think they've stopped, but it's the last one they're going to do on a weekly basis, and they're like, look, if they add any more content to the game, yeah, we'll come back and talk about it. But I think they've been doing filler content for about 20 or 30 weeks now.
Yeah.
Because there's just nothing to talk about. When they do put an event on, it's something that's been on previously. It's a repeat of previous ones with a few extra things, like this time, oh, everybody go get the new pet, and there's one new enemy in the Clockworks for 2 weeks. Which is, yeah, that's alright, but it's not really going to bring the masses back to the game. It's something interesting for the current players to go, ooh, shiny, and grind for 2 weeks, and then once it's gone, it's gone. But yeah, when you've got actual, I mean, this is the Arsenal podcast, they're like the single biggest advocates for this game you could possibly find outside of Three Rings themselves, and they've quit playing the game. Ouch.
Which is never a good sign.
No, it's not a fantastic sign, to be honest.
Well, it had a very good run. It was a very good game for a long time.
It could still have a good run if they were willing to support it, and unfortunately, they haven't added any real noteworthy new content in over a year now. They keep doing like these limited time promos, which are all cool and good and whatever, but it's a limited time thing. It's there for 2 weeks, and once it's gone, it's not content that's actually in the game that people can access on a regular basis. It's something there to keep the current players playing. You need something to win back the old players and bring in new players to really keep an MMO going. And they've, as far as, you know, actual business decisions go, not updating your game is not good for an MMO, really.
No,
Seems a poor decision.
It does. I mean, there's always this handful of people who go on the forums and what saying, "Oh, don't hate on them. They're a small team. It's a really hard job to keep this up to date. And you know, you should be more forgiving and give them more time. Give them more time." And it's like, yeah, but you don't understand how an MMO works. MMOs thrive on new content and die on not having new content. Look at any MMO in history. That's how it works. The way you keep people interested and keep people engaged, keep people coming back and paying money to play the game is by adding new things to keep those people engaged. If you don't do that, they're going to leave. So, I don't know what's going on at Three Rings. I would dearly like to know.
It has been going for a long time now. What is it, 3, 4 years?
3 years.
3 years. That's a long time for an MMO.
That's a decent
It's
run.
not World of Warcraft, but it's a long time.
It's done a lot better than most, actually,
Yeah.
to be fair. Yes, but I don't know, it's the fact that it's, you know, always seemed consistently reasonably stable. It seemed like it would, you know, carry on doing its thing for however long to come because it was okay, and then all of a sudden around back end of last year, particularly in light of Nick leaving the team, it's kind of ground to a halt, and it's like, yeah, they put out new content, new things, they've added the sprites, they've added the missions, they've changed things, added things, tweaked things, added new mechanics, gameplay, combat and stuff to it, and then last year they just kind of ground to a halt and it was like, yeah, we're going to keep running the game, we're going to keep selling you things, but nope, nothing to play with.
Yeah, they realised, I think, that they could make enough money from new costumes and hats and not actual real content.
Which is unfortunate.
I would be concerned that that's not sustainable in the long run. It may be in a
No.
very short term, but
But that's all they seem to have done.
It's pretty much all they have done, yeah, to be honest. I mean, I've said many times, put another Operation Crimson Hammer out there. I know a lot of people don't like the way that's done, but
No, I
people
didn't.
would buy that, and people would be happy with that as a content drop. I would buy that. If they put out another actual expansion, where it's just like one good solid chunk of content with some unique weapons in it and some unique story to it, and I'd buy that. A lot of people would buy that. That would bring in some money. Whereas if they're just going to say, here's a green hat, here's a blue hat, here's a purple hat, I was like,
Purple, you say?
I'm not going to go purple, you say. I'm going to be like, I got my green hat 3 years ago. I'm
Yes.
still wearing it. It's still nice.
I like my gold chapeau.
Yeah. I mean, back then, those promos worked. It was like, here's 6 really nice things. You buy a box, and you're going to get one of these 6 really nice things.
Yeah, guaranteed. Not like
Yeah.
a 1% drop.
Yeah, now it's... You've got a 99% chance of getting a purple version of all the armor that's already in the game, or a green version of all the armor that's already in the game, or a 1% chance of getting this really shiny, amazing thing. And it's like, that's just gambling at this point. I'm not buying into a promo, I'm gambling. I'm paying $5 for a 1% chance at getting a shiny.
For a while, I did buy into that, and I did actually get one of the 1% drops. It was an
really?
Arcane Halo,
Oh, yeah, I remember.
and I sold it for like 1,000,000 crowns, and I was dead pleased with myself.
Very nice.
Do you have to go to rehab after that, Will?
Yes, I did.
Alcohol. Gamblers Anonymous, whatever it is. What else have you been playing, John?
Wildstar, I've actually been trying to get into some of the group content stuff. I mean, there's a ridiculously long quest chain once you hit level 50. So it's a bit grindy in some places, but it never feels like a bad grind. It's kind of grind that you feel like you're accomplishing something at the end of it. And when I talk about grind, we're talking like 3 or 4 days grind, and we're not talking about months and months of work. It's like, here's 20 daily quests, go do them for 4 days, and then at the end of that, your reputation's up to the level where it's like, okay, next bit of the story, and it's okay, I can deal with that. And yeah, now it's on it's the bit I'm on is I need to do the level 50 version of all of the adventures, which I've not done any of those before. They sort of drip feed them to you over the course of the story. It's like, here, you've unlocked the first one at like level 15 is the first one that pops up, and I never did it then because there was nobody to play with. I mean, I've told you about the queuing job for trying to get into instances before. Yeah, it's like, ETA, 11 seconds, 90 minutes later.
You've moved up one.
Yeah. You are number 2 in the queue.
Ooh, if I'm number 2, I should hang around for a bit longer.
No, it doesn't actually do that, but... yeah, those queues were a bit ridiculous. But obviously, in a couple weeks ago, I should have mentioned this last week, to be honest, but whatever. The Wildstar, they did do this massive server merge, so now there are only 4 servers. There's US and EU, PvP and PvE servers. So there's just 2 huge servers in the 2 main regions, basically, is all Wildstar is now. And the game feels alive now. There are people everywhere. There are people to do content with. I was talking to Will about this briefly before we started. There is a daily event that you have to complete daily, or it encourages you to complete daily anyway, one of the daily quests. It's a big 20-man group thing, and it runs every 4 hours on the dot. It starts, it's like, okay, time to go, everybody start doing this thing. And
Very cool.
yeah, so I hadn't actually experienced this before the server merge, but the event is it comes in about 2 halves, and each half is supposed to take about 30 minutes. So overall, it's supposed to be for a group of about 20 people working together to take about an hour to complete. Now you end up on the mega servers, as they're calling them, you end up with a group of about 60 people turn up and complete the entire content in about 10 minutes. Which is ridiculous.
It sounds brutal.
It is a bit. It's if you don't. The first time you go into that and you don't know what's going on, I was like, I don't know what's happening, but everybody's running around really fast and completing things, and oh god, what's going on? Oh, the thing. Oh, there's a thing over there. Run over there. Okay, everybody's done that. Let's next bit. Where's the next bit? I was like, oh, what? Why are we going now? Oh god.
So basically, you're just there, and everyone's doing everything. It's just like, all right.
There's just a wave of 60 people tearing across the zone, destroying everything in their path, and if you don't know what you're doing, you just kind of get swept along with it. We're like, there's an enemy, hit it, oh, it's dead, okay, next bit, now let's carry on a bit faster. And then eventually there is a boss, and it's like, by the first time we got to that boss, it's got like 7-8 million health, which for a 20-man group would be a challenge. For 60 men, they tear through it a bit quickly.
Is it just like they should just animate in like a seating section just for people who aren't really needed at the time?
Yeah, probably. I mean, to be fair, actually, there is a stadium in that zone as well. I think there is some game goes on there that's on a timer schedule as well. I've not been to that one, so I don't know what that one entails, but there is actually a stadium in the zone, which would be great if they just put up on Jumbo Vision. It was like just shows a wave of people tearing across the zone. That'd be hilarious.
I think they should animate something in where the boss is just waiting for people to come. They see 60 people and just like, screw this, and just please.
Basically, yeah. So, yeah, like the first time we got to that boss, I mean, that boss was like on 1/3 health. By the time I got to the room with everybody fighting the boss in it, I barely got to it in time.
Did he drop to his knees and pray to Robotnik when he saw all those people?
He was having a bit of a rough time of it, yeah. And then there's a little bit after it in which requires people to actually do their actual job roles, their paths, and I'm an explorer, so I get to fix all the explorer bits. It's like, oh, if you're an explorer, you can fix up these piping to save the reactor from going nuclear. And I'm like, haha, I am useful! This is the bit I can do.
So you're essentially a plumber.
I am a plumber, yeah. That's my role in that event. I am the plumber at the very end that fixes the nuclear reactor. I'm a nuclear plumber. Also, I really want that as my title in game now. I want it to say Meroka Nuclear Plumber.
I wonder if that would get you jobs in like the real world.
I can only hope so.
What else have you been playing?
More WildStar. I did actually do adventures earlier today. Like I say, that's kind of that's a 5-man content thing that. I think I was probably supposed to do it about level 30, but it scales up and does a level 50 version, and they kind of take an existing zone that you played through when you did all the questing and you leveled up as the process, and it's like, okay, we've taken this exact map and this exact town, you're all familiar with this, but this is basically a virtual reality scenario, and it's like, here's some hypothetical alternate story for you to mess around with, which I like as a concept because it basically allows them to. All the things that they've spent ridiculous hundreds, thousands of man hours, hundreds of thousands, God knows how many man hours involved in making one zone in an MMO, and the player's just going to burn through it in a couple of hours anyway. It allows them to reuse it for something really cool. So in this one, this was just sort of a town in a big snowy zone, and you wandered off and did various quests for different areas. And this time the town it's been overrun by the gangs, and there's different crime gangs, and you're part of a crime syndicate, and you have to go and muscle out the opposing gangs. You have to go and run hits on other groups and form alliances and stuff. And it's like, okay, this is kind of cool. I like this. Admittedly, the group I was with were more concerned about burning through it as ridiculously fast as possible in order to get the best rewards, as opposed to actually savouring the fact that this was actually really cool. And I'm here for the first time, I'm like, guys, there's a story, and it's like there's like a multiple choice adventure thing, and the story takes different paths and branches depending on the actual choices you take. There's like 3 different endings to this adventure, and you know, normally with a dungeon, it's just like, go in, kill a bunch of bosses, you're at the end. This is like multiple choice here, and there's 3 endings to it. It's like, I want to see what's going on. We're like, okay, next bit, faster, quicker. We need to beat this. It was like a 45-minute timer on this entire thing. We need to do it before the timer's up. We need that gold medal, guys. And I'm like, oh, God, no, I want to see the story.
Oh, so charlatans.
I need a better group. I really do. I want somebody who's like, look, there's multiple endings. I want to see all the stories, and I want to actually see the stories. I don't want, because there is right at the start of it. So the first multiple choice you've got is 2 choices. Is some of your group have been here before. Do you want to skip the intro? And it's democratic vote, and I was like, no, I don't. I want to see the intro. I was like, let me see. No, don't skip. Don't. I want to stay here. I want to do this. I want to see what the situation is. I want to be briefed on things. And of course, those fuckers just all clicked skip the intro. I was like, oh, I needed to see that.
Well, was there like a pie chart that just showed you the percentage of how many people voted?
No, I didn't. It didn't actually. Normally, it does tell you what the majority vote was for something. It didn't tell me on that one. Normally, it says 4 people voted for this one or whatever. But I'm pretty certain the vast majority of them, if not all of them, probably just clicked for the first. They clicked the first option on each choice. So it seemed to be the way things were going. It's like first option on each decision. It was like But the other options, guys, they sound interesting. Oh, no, we're going to go with the first option every time. All right. So that was that. I mean, I would like to do that with a this was a random group. I need to get going with my guild or something. I need to grab a bunch of people from the guild that are actually interested in doing it properly and seeing things and actually having a good time in the game instead of just burning through it for the loots.
A good life lesson there.
Yeah. I did also play some Time Rifters, which I mentioned last week I was going to be playing, and indeed have, and put up a video on the YouTube channel we have already mentioned.
Yeah, I got segued two in one segment.
It's never stopped you before, but
I'm showing restraint.
Good.
The group's working. The support group's working, Michael.
Yeah.
Segway as anonymous.
I'm not gonna lie, I had the shakes on a little bit.
So yeah, it's a really nice looking game, is what it is. It reminds me a lot of Mirror's Edge, actually. And,
oh yeah, I remember that game. It's a very good game.
And a bit of Drunken Robot Pornography and In Momentum, which also have a very similar, very clean, bright colours, vibrant, futuristic kind of look going on. It's a very pretty game. It's not really a first-person shooter in the sense that one would typically think of it. There's nothing that fights back. You aren't going to get shot and killed by anything in the game. It's just here's a long stream of targets. Here's like 150 targets, and you need to kill them all within a minute or whatever, and they're all coming in different patterns and formations and things. And you get a variety. You get to pick from 6 different weapons, all which have a bunch of upgrades, and you need to try and kill as much of that room as you can. And you probably won't unless you are like horrifyingly good at the game. I imagine there probably are people who are horrifyingly good at the game, but no. Basically, you need to try and get as much of the room dead in one run as you can, and then you go back and you work with yourself. You take a clone of yourself and you go and run alongside the first version and try and do better, and you get 4 attempts of running alongside the 4 versions of yourself. Try and clear each room out and try and get 100%. Which is not necessarily the most original concept insofar as Super Time Force already did that. The single player cooperative work with past versions of yourself kind of thing. But that wasn't a first-person shooter, so this is kind of an entirely different thing. And it's pretty cool. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it sounds pretty good.
I did break it as well. It's really easy. It's really easy to jump out of the lobby. There's like a sort of weird... They've got this textured wall, there's like bits sticking out. There's all this modern art style ledges and bits sticking out the wall. And I'm like... I wonder if they put an invisible wall there, or if I can climb up this wall. It's like, no, you can stand on all these ledges. Let's climb up. I wonder if there's an invisible wall on the ceiling. No, there isn't. You hop over the wall and plummet to eternity below.
Yeah, we discussed this last week, didn't we?
Did we?
Yeah, I'm sure when we had to scold you a couple of times for trying to get out of the zones.
I climb on everything in video games. I'm so bad for it. I mean, Wildstar, I am an explorer, which gives me a bunch of extra tools that are... I mean, the role in the game encourages climbing on things, but I take it to the extremes. I will try and find... If there's a building that looks like you can't get up, I will try and find a way to get up it. And I've succeeded quite a few times. I'm quite proud of that. Yeah. Quite often I'm just stood on something looking down on people, and you can see people looking up and going like, how did he get up there? Which I'm okay with.
I don't know. Your obsession with fire and climbing up walls. You're a menace to society.
Climbing up walls is a healthy hobby. Rock climbing is a perfectly acceptable sport.
You tell that to King Kong.
I will. He had the right idea. King Kong is my role model.
Oh dear.
Also started playing through some Metrocide on my channel, which is kind of cool. Did we talk about this one last week? I can't remember if we did.
I don't know. Which one is it?
It's a top-down stealth shooter thing. You are a hired murderer, essentially. You have to go and take out contracts on people. You have to sneak around in the shadows and try and shoot people, and then stash their bodies somewhere.
I don't think you mentioned this.
All right. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of it's it's kind of a grungy cyberpunk dystopia stuff. You got like police drones flying overhead, watching down on you, and if you assassinate someone when the police are watching, they'll just straight up shoot you.
As the way it should be.
Yeah, well. Normally you'd hope the police would, make an attempt to arrest you, but no, most of the things in this game will just straight up murder you if you give them half a chance. So don't give them a chance. Most of the people on the streets, in spite of the fact that in this universe guns are illegal, you go to a vending machine. There are vending machines on the street where you can buy equipment and stuff, and it says, "Would you like to buy a shotgun?" in brackets illegal. It was like, why is there a vending machine on the street selling illegal equipment? What the hell? There's just a vending machine with shotguns in it. Okay.
Isn't that a thing in America?
I was going to say any other... Well, I don't know. I don't know if they have it in vending machines quite. Sounds like more like something Japan might have, but... they put everything in vending machines in Japan. I'm sure there's one with a shotgun in it somewhere.
You want some tentacle porn?
That, I'm quite certain, is in vending machines. I'm not even joking on that one.
Oh dear. Is it too early for the disclaimer?
I don't think these are opinions. This is just the way it is.
It's fact.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I'm joking about and being tentatively racist when I say Japanese probably, in fact, I'm quite certain, do have tentacle porn in vending machines. They are, I mean, if you've been on the internet, you have literally, I'm sure, seen the pictures, actual photographs of Japan, of vending machines that sell used ladies' underwear. That is a thing you can buy from a vending machine in Japan. Classic. I'm quite sure they sell tentacle porn. And possibly shotguns. I don't know. But yeah, in spite of in Metro City guns being illegal, quite an astonishing amount of people on the street do seem to carry guns. And if you get spotted by like a civilian, if you find your contract, and half the people you're supposed to assassinate are carrying guns, but you'll be notified before you do it. So it'll say, by the way, the guy you're going to be killing, they have a gun, and so you get a bit of a heads up. And oftentimes, if someone else sees you trying to assassinate them, they'll pull out a gun as well, and it's like, oh, you were shot by a vigilante. I'm like, God damn it, everybody in this game has a gun. And most of them are just innocent bystanders. They all have guns, and they're all quite willing to shoot me.
Well, if it's readily available in a vending machine, I can't really blame them.
Yes, but it's illegal. Oh, come on.
Some of them probably just ordered it by accident, like, this isn't Diet Coke.
I wanted a coffee. This appears to be a silenced assault rifle.
Where's my lady's used underpants?
I wondered when that was going to come in.
Oh dear.
I pushed A6. I was looking for tentacle porn.
This needs to be a cutscene in the game now. Angry Japanese men going, what is this?
Well, it is an early access title, so there's plenty of time for it to be patched in. The
Good.
Japan zone.
Get that email sent off to the developer.
Well, the path the story takes is you trying to get out of the city. You have to earn enough money from doing contracts to earn enough money to get a ticket out of the city. So the first section is $2,000. That gets you from downtown to the docks, which seems like quite a lot of money to get from downtown to the docks, but whatever. And then it sounds like, I have not got that far, but it sounds like the next bit's like a sort of more upmarket bit, getting into the nicer end of town. It'd be fantastic. It was like, buy your plane ticket to Japan and do it in Japan now. And then use the vending machines there.
A shotgun vending machine right next to the plane.
Probably, yes, actually. Given the nature of the game, yes, there would probably be a shotgun vending machine right next to the plane. With panties in it. But yeah, that's Metroside. It's kind of cool. I'm quite liking it. I'll be doing more content on that on my channel. They are, like I say, it's early access, but I think they're nearly done. They're kind of just doing a finishing touches kind of early access. It's kind of, I think they're aiming for about 6 weeks in early access before launch, so they should be done around December time. All going according to plan. So if you have any requests for underwear in vending machines, get them in fast before the game's finished. So there's that. And I also played some Screen Cheat with Will.
Yeah, it was fun.
I tried.
You did try. You failed.
I really did.
So, yeah, we shall try and get more of that on the channel at some point, possibly with Michael if his computer is less of a derp, because that was kind of a fun one. That can be found on the channel, and you can see me and Will and friends playing that.
A Button Mash top tip for everyone. PS3 controllers don't work very well on Steam.
They can, because actually, one thing I haven't put on the notes, actually, I played Octodad this week, and played that on a PS3 controller, so... I mean, I'll also go with that doesn't work very well, but it works well enough for Octodad, just barely. Because Octodad had some free DLC for it this week. They did two extra levels essentially. They were shorts, is what they were. And one of them is Octodad's first date with his wife. For some reason, you end up working in the restaurant that you're supposed to be having your date at. I don't quite get where that came from, but it could just be Octodad being lol random. So yeah, it's halfway through the date, you have to get up and start serving the other people at the restaurant and washing up in the kitchen and stuff. And I'm like, hang on, I'm pretty sure that's not what happens at a first date. You're not supposed to get up and leave your partner and go start scrubbing dishes, unless you forgot to pay. But at this point, they hadn't even eaten. So, what was going on there, I don't know.
Maybe he let the guy know in advance that he didn't have any money, so...
Maybe. The other one is it's just a story told by Octodad's kids. They do the narration throughout the whole thing, and Octodad has to go work in a hospital for some reason, which I'm pretty sure is a nod to Surgeon Simulator.
This octopus gets around.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. It's just their justification for that is it's a story told by Octodad's kids. They are just telling each other a story. They are just telling a story to each other. It's like, where shall our story begin? Our dad was working as I think it's an astronaut or something. It was like, no, he's a nurse. He was a nurse, and he had to go and help his patients, and one of them was really nasty, and so on and so forth. And you playing as Octodad have to go through the motions that your kids are narrating. Which is kind of cool.
What
cute.
kid thinks being a nurse is cooler than an astronaut?
I think it was I forget the kids' names. I think it was the boy who wanted the astronaut or whatever. I'm not sure he was an astronaut. It might have been. Then it was the girl, the daughter, that wanted him to be a nurse. So there you go, kids.
Oh, they're all terrible.
Wow, the views of the Button Mash horse do not reflect.
Yep.
We're a family-friendly event and encourage people of all ages to attend.
What?
Except kids, because the Button Mash horse does not play nicely with kids.
Well, have you ever seen him next to a child?
I've never seen you and a child in the same place.
Yes, that's rather suspect.
Well, there's a restraining order.
I would explain it. Anyway, do you want to run us through your exploits in Football Manager for the week? Because I think that's about all we've got left.
Oh, right. Haven't played too...
Come on, it was necessary.
Yeah, it's the usual. I've only played 3 more games since last time. Form's turned around a bit. Won 2 of them, lost 1. Yeah, it seems okay. The board is satisfied with me. I'm happy.
Are you out of the relegation zone?
Just about. I'm 16th now.
Where was the line drawn against?
18th. So there's 20 teams, so it's 18, 19, 20 can get relegated.
Alright, okay. As long as you're staying safe.
Yeah, but I'm moving up and up.
Cool.
I'm like M people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pop culture reference, you may have missed that.
I think I may have done, yes.
Ooh, dearie me.
Anyway, that probably just about does it for our gaming experiences for the week, so I think we shall take a brief break.
You want the jingle?
Hang on, you'll have your jingle moment in the moment. You've already ruined one.
That's what I do.
So, in a moment, we shall be right back with you with some gaming news and releases for the week.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Pokemon, gotta catch 'em, it's you and me. I know it's my destiny, Pokemon, oh, you're my best friend. In a world we must defend. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em, heart so true. Our courage will show us through. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all. Pokemon.
I wasn't expecting that.
If I'd have done that at the start, that would have been brilliant.
It was slightly abridged, I feel. You seem to segue between one line and another, but okay, it was pretty decent.
Wanted out of that damn shame box.
Okay. Right, it's no more shame box. Can we have a
Bone and
normal
mash.
jingle now?
Bone and Mash podcast is back.
Yay.
You like that?
I do. Welcome back to the Unmash podcast. We have songs.
Yep.
That's all we have.
Nothing else at all.
Nothing else. Poor, just poor singing.
How dare you, sir?
I jest. Surely I jest.
I am the voice of an angel.
Just for the record, I did register that Shatneroki channel.
Oh, did you?
I did, but I screwed it up, is what I'll say.
Did you screw it up?
Because I tied it to the wrong feckin' channel.
Oh.
The YouTube registration thing has changed a bit, I guess, since last I needed to set one up. I set up the Button Mash Podcast's YouTube channel at some stage, which obviously went okay, but this one, they've got this weird thing where they, in spite of them supposedly phasing it out, they need it to be tied to a Google Plus account now if you set up a new one. And then you absolutely need, if you set that up, it needs to be tied to a real name. So I was like, well, I don't want it to be a real name. I want this to be a product name. I want this to be Shatneroki, not just. I was like, okay, fine. Let's fill in some random anonymous crap, whatever. It's called. The names I picked for it were Shatner Oki. It was a Mr. Shatner Oki.
Mr. Shatneroki.
Yeah, basically. And I was like,
That's
okay.
not a bad name.
Yeah, well, then I went into settings. It was like, okay, what URL would you like? I was like, oh, well, Shatneroki, obviously. And then I discovered it was like, would you also like to set up a channel for a specific brand? I was like, yeah. Can I have that URL back now, please? I just set it up to Shatneroki when I would like it to be Shatneroki. Which you can't get URLs back, unfortunately. That's gone. Shoot.
No.
So I have access to Shatneroki, but I can never change the name of that channel from Shatneroki. Shatner space Oki.
We can make this work.
So I have the channel Shatneroki, the word Shatneroki, but it doesn't have the URL Shatneroki. And I have Shatner space Oki, which has the URL Shatneroki.
That's not complicated at all.
Yeah, I hadn't realised you're allowed infinite, or a lot, I don't know how many, you're allowed multiple YouTube channels under one account. Quite frankly, not only the Button Mash podcast, but also Shatneroki could have been set up under my own Button Mash channel anyway, as sort of separate channels, but all managed from within the same account. I wish I'd known that. I really wish I'd known that. That would have simplified so much so long ago. Because every time I want to set up a YouTube account, I've gone through the rigmarole of creating a new username each time and going through the whole Google Plus crap and whatnot, and setting it up the old-fashioned way, as it were.
Would have made my segues a lot easier.
Would it?
No, if we ever record anything, put it onto Shatneroki, then I'm going to have to do a separate segue for that.
Well, yeah, but from a directing people to the right place standpoint, it shouldn't be a big deal. It's just from a management standpoint, I've got to log out of one account and log into another one. Whereas if I'd known you could have multiple on one thing, I would never need to log out. I'd just be like, which YouTube channel would you like to manage today? Drop down list. I would like to manage Shatneroki. I would like to do the podcast. I'd like to do Button Mash itself. Whichever. It's just a list of things to pick from, rather than going through remembering 3 different emails and passwords for each of them.
Okay, all right, I'm with you. Yeah, that would have made your life so much easier.
Yes, not that we've even got anything on Shatneroki yet, or if we even know which channel we want to use. I mean, would you want to use Shatner space Oki or Shatneroki with the wrong URL?
This is one of them we're going to have a think and discuss.
Yeah, isn't it? I mean, if we have Shatneroki the channel, that one doesn't have a URL assigned yet, so you can pick something for it, but it can't be Shatneroki, which is really annoying.
Could we put the Dungeons and Dragons on that one?
That's not going to be confusing in the slightest. Given what I've just told you about being able to set up new channels, if you really wanted to separate that out from everything else again, so that we have 4 channels, I would probably then put that as like a sister channel to the Button Mash one to keep management simple. Now that I know how to do it.
Yeah, we need to sort out our YouTubes.
We need to sort out our YouTubes, yes. That's about the state of affairs. Because they're not very well sorted.
Shall we move to gaming news?
Let's move on to some gaming news. Because Shatner News is not working out so well.
Button Mash Podcast. Gaming news.
Can we have a Shatner News section? Can we just follow William Shatner's Twitter and read out major life events and things?
I would not be opposed to doing that.
I didn't think you would. I'm glad. Anyway, we are not here about William Shatner. I wish we were, but we're not. We're here about gaming, so let's do some gaming news.
The jingle for that segment have to be in spoken word.
William Shatner podcast is back.
Yes.
Rock it, man. Anyway.
What is the... Sorry, let's kill this.
Moving on. So, big news for the week, the one that was entertaining, a little bit of drama at the start of the week. Paranormal Activity, developed by, what wasn't it? None of these articles actually ever refer to the name of the actual dev team. It's always the specific name of the developer. I forget what the actual name of the team was, to be honest.
Are we going to have to go to our sponsor, Google?
Possibly, yeah. It could be. At any rate, nonetheless, the guy the head of the team was Mike Malbec, and they've had some issues with Steam in the past. They had an issue way back when with Steam Greenlight. They went on Steam Greenlight, then got partnered with Adult Swim, who would have, had they not been on Steam Greenlight, Adult Swim would probably have got their game straight onto Steam. They'd just been like, boop, there you go, game for sale, easy, no trouble. Steam wanted to kind of almost make an example of them and say, look, you're not allowed to just shortcut and ignore Steam Greenlight by going with a publisher, because that sets a bad example, a bad precedent for anybody else to just go, okay, well, I'll just partner up with Adult Swim, and Adult Swim can get me onto Steam. And they didn't want people to be able to do that. So, yeah, they kind of... I don't think they've ever been particularly happy with Steam, but then eventually they did get through Greenlight and they're on early access. And then last Monday, I think it was last Monday or Tuesday. I think it was the Monday. They were supposed to have launched on Steam completely, fully, absolutely finished. 1.0 launched, game's done, and on the front page of Steam, the big header capsule they call it on the front page, the big capsule, the main capsule, it says Paranormal Activity now available in early access.
Ooh.
On the front page, when they've launched, now available in early access. And
somebody screwed that up.
Yeah, well, from what he reckons, Steam's not particularly competent the best of times, so I don't know. I mean, basically, the story goes that he sent them an email initially saying, guys, this isn't right, we've actually launched our game, you are costing us money here, we are killing our sales by saying our game isn't finished yet when our game is finished. It's crippling the sales, confusing people, and it would help if you could clear this up and just say now available on the front page rather than not yet finished on the front page.
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything about it for a few hours, and then he just blew up on Twitter a few hours later. So in all caps you got, are you effing kidding me, Steam? We just released out of early access and this is our front page banner, posting a picture of it to say early access. It was like, Steam is the most incompetent piece of effing S, and I am so effing done with effing incompetent S's.
It would have been more effective if it actually spelled out the swear word.
Probably. They were actually in there, but I'm literally reading it from the...
Keeping it PG.
I don't normally bother too much with the podcast. I'm normally fairly liberal about effing and blinding on the podcast, but whatever. It's weird because I don't on the Button Mash channel, but I don't mind effing on the podcast, just as a personal stance on things. So yeah, then that was followed up with, I am going to kill Gabe Newell, he is going to die.
That's a really rational way to sort out.
Very mature.
Yeah. Guess what? their game isn't for sale on Steam anymore. At all.
So he kind of talked himself off Steam.
Yeah, so then, matter of fact, Mike Morbeck, the guy, actually forwarded the email on, so that Valve sent him. It was like, on your Twitter account today, there were a series of messages where you expressed your frustration with Steam. We are generally comfortable with partners expressing this type of frustration or any other viewpoint directly with us or publicly through social media and the press, but one of your tweets this morning was a threat to kill one of our colleagues. Death threats cross a line. Code Avarice, that's what they're called. We have therefore decided to end our business relationship with you and Code Avarice. So, the game is, if you had it on Steam, and I picked it up, I think probably part of a bundle ages ago. If you had it, you still got it, and there is still a community hub for it, so you can talk to other players about it in the forums, and they've said if you want to roll out any updates and stuff, get in touch, and Steam can work with them to actually push updates and stuff, but yeah, they won't sell their game through Steam anymore.
Well, I'm not sure. This does seem like a simple thing of if you apologise, maybe they'll...
That was the first thing he did. That didn't work. Not that kind of fuck up. If you screw up that bad, apologies don't cut it. Because then there's a later tweet says like, people are telling me it's fucking stupid to say I want to kill Gabe. Can I set up a no shit auto response on Twitter? And yeah, you read the comments on any article about this. Everyone's like, Jesus Christ, that's so fucking stupid. These guys, what the fuck? Why would you do that? That's ridiculous. It's the most retarded thing you could possibly do. It's a comment, goes on and on and on and on. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the guy was, I believe there were 4 or 5 people involved in developing it. The team, Code Avarice, was actually him and one other guy. And I think my reaction and a lot of other people's reaction was, holy shit, there's another guy that got involved in this who's now several years of his life's work have just been thrown aside because his partner was so immature as to write a bunch of random shit on Twitter that was obviously a completely fucking stupid idea, quite frankly. And now his livelihood and potentially career is damaged, if not ruined, because of someone else's fuck up. But honestly, if you actually dig a bit deeper into this, it seems like the pair of them weren't much better than each other. There's any number of screenshots of them in sort of chat rooms with people. I mean, as I say, I think I picked it up in one of the Groupies bundles. Groupies does a bunch of indie game bundle type stuff, and I bought a bunch of stuff from them in the past. They're pretty good for stuff, and I'm pretty sure I got Paranautical Activity to do that. And they're one of these sites that's got a little chat room at the bottom of the screen all the time. It's like anybody who's on the site can sit there and just chat to other people about stuff, about the games that they're buying and what's available and what updates and things, and talking to people. And actually, those ones do seem to be fairly active, and there's some screenshots of that chat with the 2 developers in there chatting to customers, essentially, or potential customers, and honestly, they're just insulting people who they deem not hardcore, not worthy enough to play their game. There's one of the design choices they did for Paranautical Activity is it's an FPS roguelike game, if you're not aware. It's in the same design vein as something like Tower of Guns. Okay. But one of their design choices was that the guns will be randomized at the start. Tower of Guns, you got to pick a gun. It's like you pick a gun, you pick a perk, you've got a loadout. That's what you're going to go into. You know what you're going with, and the enemies that are thrown at you at random. In Paranautical Activity, what you have to work with is random as well. It was like, for some people that works. Some people are like, okay, this is going to force me to adapt to work with whatever I have to go with. Instead of having control over my destiny, even the tools I have to actually try and fight enemies with are going to be random as well. And the devs are like, yeah, this is a great piece of design. We love this design. This is fantastic. And then there's other people like, I really don't like this design choice. And I was like, well, you're just shit at this game. Why don't you get better at this game? It's not our fault you're so fucking shit. And it's like, wow, these are your customers.
Yeah, that's not very particularly good customer service.
Yeah, isn't it? Just it's like, I mean, what makes you a game developer anyway? We've been working on this for years. We're proper game developers. What credentials do you have? And I was like, asshole much? Really?
Yeah.
It's like, so honestly, I'm not feeling much. I'm not really feeling too bad for either of them, to be honest. I mean, the other guy doesn't deserve his career ruined at someone else's hands, in idiotic hands, but at the same time, It doesn't seem like they were a particularly great pair to begin with.
I mean, it's difficult. I can't really blame Steam too much for removing the game.
No, from Steam's perspective, no, that's entirely reasonable. I mean, it's their platform, it's their choice, they get to run it how they want. I mean, is it right that they have damn near a monopoly on PC gaming? No, not particularly, but until someone else wants to actually genuinely challenge it with a comparable service, that's the way it is, and like it or not, yes, you have to deal with Steam if you want to get anywhere on PC gaming. Unless you are Blizzard or EA. That's pretty much the shape of it. And yeah, don't threaten to kill the guy who runs the service.
You know, as a general life rule, threatening to kill people is generally frowned upon in any walk of life, so...
Yeah,
maybe...
but more so threatening to kill the guy who has a almost complete monopoly on the platform you were trying to sell your product on.
Yeah, that's especially dumb.
That's really fucking dumb. So yeah, that was a fun little time. So the guy Mike Malbec has left Code Avarice.
No.
Well, you know, and the other guy is still at Code Avarice. I'm like, at that point, surely the studio's name is tainted beyond recognition, and you're on your own at this point. The studio is you.
You might as well start again at that point.
If I was in that position, I'd be just like, fine, I'll start a new company under a new name and pretend I don't have anything to do with the other guy.
That's probably going to be his best course of action.
Yeah. I mean, you can still buy the game through other sources, I believe. I mean, they posted out an announcement and they said, "Oh, don't worry, guys." A bit sarcastic it is. "Don't worry, guys. We sold 12 copies of Paranormal Activity on non-Steam platforms today on launch day." Which Will mentioned earlier. He thought he'd seen a figure somewhere saying they were selling they were supposed on track to sell 12 an hour on Steam.
Yeah,
which
is a lot better service on Steam.
But at the same time, I feel like that number still feels low to me. 12 copies an hour when you're on the front page in the main capsule on Steam, for a service that caters to an audience of 75 million.
But again, you're talking about people that might not want to play this game because of the randomized weaponry. It's a specialist game, I reckon.
Yeah, but not everybody's going to do that much in-depth research as to what they buy. A lot of people will probably see fast FPS roguelike, and people will be like, "Hey, that sounds cool. I'll buy into that." Especially when we're talking about a game that's less than $10 as well.
Oh, I'll totally agree with that.
People aren't going to do in-depth reviews necessarily to say, "Oh, I don't like this particular design choice that they made. I'm not going to buy the game." A large portion of people will just go, "Hey, FPS roguelike." And many people probably go, "I liked Tower of Guns. Let's have some Paranormal Activity on the go."
But that is the kind of game that sits in my library for years unplayed.
I mean, it's not great when games do that, but at the same time, the devs still saw the money from it. They still saw the sale. They're at their end of the transaction. Yes, it'd be nice if people were playing their game, but they don't make more money from people playing the game unless you want to go down the route of word of mouth and whatnot. But your playing the game does not drive further sales for them, unless they've got microtransactions, which would be horrifying. And you get any game that charges you for it and then adds microtransactions. Not cool, not cool.
No, not cool.
Unless you're an MMO, then you can kind of get away with it. Guild Wars 2, I think, just about managed it. That's about it. Actually, no. I tell a lie. Guns of Icarus does that. And you know what? I have absolutely no problem with buying stuff in Guns of Icarus.
How come?
Firstly, it's all entirely cosmetic. There's nothing that changes gameplay in any way, shape, or form whatsoever in their store. There's absolutely not a damn thing you can buy in Guns of Icarus that changes it. There's no XP boosters or anything, nothing like that. There's no weapons, no everything that can be bought in Guns of Icarus is purely cosmetic. And secondly, the game was really fucking cheap to begin with, and I really like supporting those developers.
Oh, that's fair enough.
When you're paying like $1 or $2, and they do sell it like at that price quite frequently, and when you're paying $1 or $2 for a game, and you're getting a lot of good experiences out of it, it's like, you know what, I like these guys, I like the game they made, and I paid fuck all for it in the first instance. I can throw a few extra dollars their way in exchange for a nice hat in games that I look cool, whilst I also play the game that I enjoy.
Yep. Okay, that's fair.
That's fair. But that's gone off on a bit of a tangent.
Yeah.
So yes, don't threaten to kill Gabe Newell. Lesson of the day.
Lesson learned. The more you know.
But it also highlights an issue with Steam. It's just, they are not the best service. They are kind of crap at what they do. I think there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that many people probably don't see or never will see, that they're just not great at doing, and this just kind of highlights one of them in a really terrible fashion. But yeah.
Well, there you go.
Also, I think these guys were like really young as well. I think Will said they're like immature. I think I read somewhere they're like 20.
Okay, they're very immature then.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, generally in society we consider people to be adults at either 18 or 21, depending on country and whatnot. But at the same time, I've seen articles, and I probably would agree with it based on my own personal life experiences. I don't think, apparently the studies show mental maturity doesn't really peak until about 25. You're not really fully adult mentally speaking until about the age of 25, and it's like letting someone who's only 20 years old be the public face of a company. It's kind of like, that's terrifying.
Yeah, probably wasn't the best idea. It was Baxel male support.
So, but well, I say, when there's only two of them, one of them's got to be the face of the company, I suppose. But at the same time, I feel like perhaps both of them were too young to be taking on such a role, to be honest.
Well, if they're both 20 years old, hopefully they'll bounce back, learn, and...
Well, they have plenty of life and development and what's not ahead of them. Well, Mike Morbeck, maybe less so, but the other guy could probably do just alright. I suppose it depends. If he wants to work on his own, yeah. The main kicker for Mike Morbeck certainly is the lack of Steam access now. No matter what he develops in the future, there's no way he will be able to sell it on Steam. So if he wants to continue down a game development route, he needs to basically be Notch in order to succeed. And, from what I've seen of him, it seems like he probably thinks he is Notch, but at the same time, I don't think he is.
Ooh. You've just insulted him.
I'm sorry, Mr. Death Threat to Game Newell.
Death threats on the way.
You're going to get blasted on Twitter suddenly.
Well, don't worry, we'll ban his games from Button Mash.
Even less sales for you.
Revenge!
So yeah, we won't be featuring paranormal activity in our mashup tournaments in the future.
There was such an outcry for that.
I know, everybody was like, where's paranormal activity? We need paranormal activity. And we say, no, not after that fiasco.
I recall being slapped in the face because we didn't have
it. Slapped right in your horse face. You weren't wearing it at the time, so it was okay.
No, he felt it though.
In other news, this one's more... This one hits me more than anything else. So you guys probably don't even give a flying toss, but...
well, tell us. We never know. We might feel some pain.
NCSoft, who own Carbine Studios, who are the guys who make WildStar, have had huge layoffs, so Carbine have lost around 60 employees out of a team of a few hundred, is the figure that is usually quoted for Carbine size, so it's a good chunk of their team disappeared.
Well, people getting laid off, that sucks.
It does kind of. I mean, I hope they go on to do alright, but at the same time, it's like, just that's the studio that makes the MMO that I'm currently playing a lot of at the minute. It's like, when they're downsizing, it's like, oh dear, what's going wrong? Please don't let the game go away, because I like this game.
Well, do you know what numbers it's doing in terms of
I
don't
know I don't really know any numbers on WildStar, to be honest. I think they're another one of those ones that's based, because I actually applied to work at Carbine earlier on in the year. They're based over California way, not so far off LA actually, which is it's the same problem. I feel like what are they called? Double Fine. I mean they're Double Fine's probably even far worse, but it's the same problem they have, in that they've picked one of the most expensive places in the world to set up a business. So
Yeah.
you need to make a ridiculous amount more money just to be able to, keep your head above water. Which I hadn't quite realised that about Double Fine. It was something else I was watching earlier in the week. Someone put out the figures. I think it was on Broken Age, potentially. There were 12 people working on that, and everybody who was working on that was getting paid $10,000 a month.
Holy crap.
Which is 120 grand a year. 12 people. And you wonder how they got through 4 million so quickly.
Yeah.
It goes pretty quick when you're paying them that kind of money. I mean, admittedly, I think the figure I got was median salary in the LA area. Is it LA? No, they're San Francisco, aren't they? In the San Francisco area is about 90 grand a year. So they're paying them way above median wage, which is fine. I mean, I don't want people sort of, living on the streets as game developers, but at the same time,
just driving around in their Ferraris.
I was going to say, yeah, the guys at Double Fine are doing pretty nicely out of what they're getting off Kickstarter, it seems, and various other sources.
Yeah, you want to know where your Kickstarter money's going?
It's just when you think about it's just annoying. I think it was Jesse Cox that pointed it out, actually, because Jesse Cox is like, when you look at so many game developers are really struggling to make ends meet and put titles together and scrounging money together just to make their dreams come true and actually to develop games that they want to work on, and Double Fine are just like, yeah, we're in the most expensive city to live in the world. It's like, you could make these games for a fraction of the cost and not screw over all your customers if you just developed somewhere that was cheaper.
But you can't go to fancy restaurants in Bradford.
There are fancy restaurants in other places in the world other than San Francisco.
But you don't get the thriving nightlife. And
other cities in the world other than San Francisco have a nightlife.
But with the nice bridge...
I'll give you that. The Golden Gate Bridge is integral to Double Fine's success. Actually, tell you what, the Golden Gate Bridge is actually how the studio gets its name.
There you go, they have to be in San Francisco.
Oh, well, actually, I don't think it's there anymore, but at one point they had a sign on the Golden Gate Bridge that they put in like parking penalties and stuff around the city, and there was an area where there was the penalty that you got paid if you parked there illegally was twice as much as everywhere else. It was a double fine zone. So there was a sign on the Golden Gate Bridge that said double fine zone. And I think it was Tim Schafer saw it and was like, If we have our team here, this entire city is our zone. It's the double fine zone.
Then he high-fived himself.
I think he probably did high-five himself after that one.
Hopefully in the face.
Wow!
That's an awful pun.
It's so bad you should high-five yourself in the face.
Oh, wow. That's my favourite thing you've ever said, Will.
So that is the story of Double Fine, yes. And how they come to be in San Francisco. And if they just moved, they could stop pissing up so much Kickstarter money up the wall. But yeah, Carbine, again, they're obviously, close to LA. I suspect that's probably not as bad as San Francisco, actually, but it's probably still pretty cost around there.
Yeah, we would expect so, wouldn't you?
But yeah, not much you can do when you got a big team. Where you're located, if you've got a few hundred people, you probably can't just up sticks and say, "Hey guys, we're gonna move over to buttfuck nowhere, New Mexico."
Hope you like Norway.
Norway's not cheap to live in. I was gonna say, if you want somewhere cheap, come to Bradford. I mean, we keep trying to drive people. The council's trying to get business in here, so there you go. Double Fine, move to Bradford. Living cost spot on.
Yes.
Nightlife's amazing.
Oh, Tokyo's every Friday night. Oh.
You got them high quality restaurants. You got Omar's. You got
Kashmir.
Royals.
Akbar's.
Dixie Chicken.
Oh yeah.
I think I've seen fast fried chicken somewhere in Bradford.
Probably UK fried chicken. So yeah, it's basically San Francisco, and it's for a fraction of the cost. The cost of starting up a business in Bradford compared to San Francisco, it would be amazing. Some more big studios should open up in Bradford.
I want them to film that just one day. Just the big boss walks into the office. Guys, we're going to relocate.
We've seen the city, and it's pretty top notch.
It's cheap.
And it's cheap. Our Kickstarter money will go a long way in this city.
You get to buy 2 Ferraris.
Basically, yeah.
We'll go to Bradford. Guys.
Guys, where'd everyone go?
Guys, why have I been thrown out the window? Not that we're insulting Bradford or anything.
I think it would be a good place. I mean, Four Door Lemon develop here, and they're world class.
Yeah.
Who?
Everybody's heard of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
They
I like that
ported
lemony. I
Joe
like that
Danger to
lemony
the PS
sounding it.
Vita. Sorry, you were saying?
No, did they just go into Tesco, see some lemonade, and go, if we name ourselves after this lemonade stand, we own the entire Tesco.
That's probably the thinking. That's a Bradford equivalent of the Double Fine Zone. So yeah, I mean, their claim to fame is they ported Joe Danger to the Vita.
Okay.
Those are nice words. I don't know what they are.
Well, Joe Danger wasn't a bad game. It was a game about a stuntman that did reasonably well on some platforms. I think it was an Xbox Live Arcade thing that did reasonably successfully. It was also on PC for a while. Indeed, still is actually. You can get it on Steam. And then the developers were like, "Hey, we need some Muppets to port it to a crap platform that nobody plays. Hey, Four Door Lemon." Sorry. But there's those studios out there that just seem to get the shit gigs, if you know what I mean. The ones where it's like, where a developer makes a reasonably successful game, it's like, hey, we want to port it to something else. We can't be fucked doing that ourselves. Let's pay someone else to do that job for us. And it feels like Four Door Lemon might be one of those, but they are based in Bradford, so national pride and whatnot.
National pride.
The nation of Bradford. We're going independent. We're declaring independence. The independent nation of Bradford.
It's pretty
Does that
trendy
mean-
to do that now.
It is. Everyone's doing it.
So does that mean George Galloway's in charge?
Oh shit.
Probably. Undo!
Is George Galloway still a thing?
He is. Well, not that anybody knows where he is or what he's doing these days, but he is still a thing.
I should hope so for his own sake.
I think he's just got that picket against people from Israel. I think that's about it.
Right. I mean, I heard after he got elected and he disappeared for a few years to go to Egypt and do stuff over there. And it's like, George, the city you're in charge of isn't in Egypt.
George.
Sorry to break that one to you.
Yeah, he applied for the wrong job there.
George, we need to fix this road. George.
We realise there are issues in Egypt, but you don't work for Egypt.
George, we still need to sort out that Odeon.
The Odeons are fine. That's been taken care of by people more competent than George Galloway.
Actually, Bradford seems to have sorted itself out. The shopping mall's being built.
Hey,
George-
maybe that's because George Galloway's gone.
people are just figuring it out for themselves.
I was like, shit, George is gone. Everybody get busy.
The sad thing is that's probably true.
It is quite accurate, I feel.
Causation and correlation and all that.
Yes, and pirates and global warming. And,
Same stuff.
yeah, basically. Anyway, so
Back to gaming news.
back to the gaming world. Carbine and Double Fine should totally move to Bradford, and that's really kind of sucky about Carbine, especially speaking as someone who's a big fan of WildStar.
And employ us. Move to Bradford and employ us.
Yes, I mean they were looking. It was a community manager they wanted at Carbine. If you still need that, hello.
We're
Uber Entertainment. I'm presuming you picked up on this news, Will.
Very early on, yes.
The Human Resources Kickstarter, they have in fact cancelled it at this point.
I'm so sad that this didn't come to fruition. It looked like such a good game.
They do have some very good ideas. I mean, they don't always work out to see Monday Night Combat, but they are a team that's got some great ideas behind them.
Yeah, they said that it was a full-time job working the Kickstarter, and there were a few people working that position, and they just couldn't afford to pay them for the last 2 weeks while the campaign was running.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was going under that badly.
That's a shame.
What, the company?
The Kickstarter itself.
Oh, right. That's crazy that they needed to pay someone to run a Kickstarter full time. That's insane.
I've never heard of that.
But it's becoming a full-time job for people.
I've heard of, like, I mean, even when we ran ours, you see, like, gurus and things, and people who are like, oh, crowdfunding experts and stuff are like, hey, do you want to pay us a bunch of money to help you out with this? And we're like, our campaign's for £600. I think your starting rate was like 1,000. The guy that came to us was like, its starting rate was like 1,000. I was like, yeah, you're charging us more than we're actually aiming for. So no, we'll be all right. Cheers.
Yeah, we did just fine.
We were alright.
We were fine. So yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, they stopped at less than 400k when they're after 1.4 mil.
Yeah,
but it's
some way off, sadly.
They were some way off. I mean, this is something I said right back at the start, is the Kickstarter well's dried up, and it is kind of going that way. You're not seeing as many really big, high-profile Kickstarters make tons and tons of money anymore, and this is perhaps fairly indicative of that. The fact that someone they set their target as a big goal and then utterly failed to hit it.
it was massive.
Well, compared to the amount some people have made, not so much. But yeah, as an initial target, it was way bigger than a lot of stuff. And there's still money to be made in Kickstarter. People are still successful, but it just seems like it's more your small to medium-sized projects that are kind of still viable. Most people don't seem to want to, go down the huge route anymore. There's less people are inclined just to throw money at all sorts of crazy and outlandish concepts that people are like, hey, we haven't made this, but give us money and we will make it.
I think people are now maybe want guarantees from Kickstarter, or just in reputable sources, possibly. Maybe people have just been burnt one too many times.
Again, to go down if you're going to go down the trusting people route, I mean, I would trust Uber Entertainment to make this because, like I say, they've got a pretty good pedigree. They made a bunch of very good titles, but at the same time, yes, on the whole, as Kickstarter as an entirety, and just alongside projects like Early Access on Steam, there's just a lot of stuff that's kind of that's just not worked out, or not worked out the way people have hoped, and there's not kind of been as good, and people are probably starting to lose their faith and less eager to do it. When it first started, it was a bit of a gold rush. It was like, oh my god, all these things that normally would need huge investment from people who would never invest in these things. I can make it happen. I can make the change. I can be the one that makes a difference by putting the money into projects that I want to see. And ultimately, there's a reason people probably wouldn't have invested in them in the first place, because they don't always work out so well. It's not a really particularly safe investment.
But at the same time, that investment wouldn't be open to people that would be buying the products usually. So, swings and roundabouts.
Yeah. It just seems like if you want to aim big, Kickstarter crowdfunding kind of things probably aren't necessarily the ideal route these days. You might have to. I don't know what the alternative would be other than to go back to the old-fashioned way of doing investment, or I suppose find a new way of doing it.
Yeah.
If you're aiming for the big time, crowdfunding maybe not the route to go these days.
But Uber Entertainment have said that it might not be the end for human resources. They are going to try and bring it to life. Just maybe not on Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they can get some investment.
Well, maybe. I mean, for Uber, I feel like that'd probably be the best way for them to go. I mean,
I really hope so.
They are a reasonably big studio. They're like Double Fine. It seems like the sort of thing that if they actually had a publisher saying, look, you make good titles, you made a lot of good titles, they've all been reasonably successful. If you just had someone to throw some money at it to get it made and some marketing budget, they could do well. I mean, Monday Night Combat, I feel like, probably would have been a pretty decent game if they'd actually thrown some money at marketing stuff. They kind of stuffed up the launch of Super Monday Night Combat, but a bit of marketing, that could have been a pretty decent game, I reckon. Planetary Annihilation, they've marketed that pretty well. That's been on the front page of Steam for probably years at this point, because it's been in early access and they keep doing updates and people keep talking about it. And obviously you had the Kickstarter, and I suppose the Kickstarter was crowdfunding, but a lot of people use Kickstarter for advertising as well, so it gets the word out there. And Planetary Annihilation, people talked about it. It's actually had marketing there, which I don't feel like Super Monday Night Combat did quite so much.
Oh, I think to quench my thirst for not having not being able to fund this game, I'm going to buy Planetary Annihilation and see that through to the end.
I bought into Planetary Annihilation during the Kickstarter, and I ain't touched it. I paid 40 quid for that game. It's probably the last game I ever did pay 40 quid for.
Wow.
And I ain't touched it. I mean, I tried picking it up at one point, and it's just like so intimidating. I seem to recall I might have already talked about that, but yeah, it's just I mean, I'm not great at RTS to begin with, but then you've kind of got this RTS that now not merely firstly, it's on a spherical map so you go around one side of the map, you come on the other side, and it's, you're on an orb basically, as opposed to just a flat map. So if you build a wall to stop people getting to you in the front, they can just wander around the backside of the planet and get to you that way. Then you've also got orbital stuff, and then there are other planets, and it's like there are so many layers to this. It's like I don't know how I'm going to manage all of that. So they were supposed to be adding some mode that was very, very single player friendly. I was like, oh, I might try that out, but I've never really kind of got round to it. I think I just funded them because they were the guys who made Super Monday Night Combat, and I was like, oh, these guys are great. I want to fund what they do.
I think Human Resources had the potential to be so much better than Planetary Annihilation. I think they learned a lot from the first one.
Yeah, I mean, most of the team have got a background in developing other RTS as well. I mean, a lot of them did Total Annihilation in the first place as well. And I think there's some of them from... Ooh, I don't know, there was another... what was the name of the other one? Gas Powered Games, I think, made it. Does that ring any bells?
No.
I can't remember what it was now. There was another RTS that was reasonably noteworthy. The name completely eludes me at this point. And... yeah, I think a lot of the team from that came to Uber Entertainment as well, so there's a lot of team with a lot of background in RTS-based stuff, so they got the experience, they know what they're doing, I think. But yeah, not to be, unless they found another way.
Well, it's one to keep an eye out for, I think.
Yeah, certainly.
I don't think it's going to die a death.
Mm-hmm. And regardless of that, I'd still be interested to see what else they come up with in the future anyway. I mean,
oh, yeah.
Having spoken to I think, whether he's the guy in charge or just a face of the company kind of thing, Greg Stackhouse at PAX East, so he says he really wants to do more Monday Night Combat, so it's like, I'm hyped for that, regardless of what it is. Please, I want to see that universe. That's really freaking cool. But yeah, that's news. I think that's the majority of our news for the week. Should we do some new releases?
Let's go for it.
MASH Podcast. New releases.
Is that a new jingle?
No, I'm sure I've done it before.
Oh, okay. I wasn't entirely sure if I'd heard it before or not.
Just haven't assigned a button to the machine yet.
No, apparently not.
Maybe I've been breaking into your house and fiddling with the machine.
Deleting phrases from my soundboard. How dare you, sir?
I've got to feed my imaginary family somehow.
Uh-huh.
This podcast's all I have.
I wouldn't rely on it too much for feeding your family. It's not going to provide a lot just yet.
Oh dear.
New releases for the week. We have Lords of the Fallen on PC, PS4, and the Xbone. Which is... I did look at this one, I can't remember what it was. A fantasy action RPG. Which looks like, honestly, like a lot of other fantasy action RPG type things we've had in recent history, to be fair.
Pretty much, yeah. Standard there.
It's there is for some reason your big titles seem to be going down that route lately. Lots of hack and slash, hit people a lot with swords type titles. That's what I would describe it as. There certainly seems to be a market for it, but every time I see one, it's just like, it's very pretty, but it seems very, very similar to everything else that's out at the minute. I'm looking at it, and it's just like, so am I looking at Shadow of Mordor here, or It's a vaguely fantasy thing with lots of swords, and doesn't really draw my attention from all the other fantasy things with swords that everything else is going on. Yeah, I don't know. Like I say, it seems to be a fairly big title. I mean, it's on all the platforms, but at the same time, it's not even, no, I've not even heard anyone talking about it, so I don't know how much hype there is for this. Normally with a big title that's multi-platform and everything, you sort of expect to have heard about it. Nope, not heard of this one.
Over the head.
Over the head, indeed. Sunset Overdrive is out on... For some reason, our thing lists it on the Xbone 3 times, all on the 28th of October.
So on the Xbox, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, there's also all the special editions all listed separately here. So yes, it comes with a bunch of different special editions if you really want to get into that.
I actually do know what this game is.
Go on, tell us what it is then.
Basically, the theory is that it's a city in 2027, and there's loads of this new brand of energy drink, but the energy drink turns you into a mutant. So you, as a townsperson, get to build your own guns out of random crap to kill the monsters.
Okay, fair enough.
Ask me how I know that.
There's more than I know about it. I've seen screenshots and I've seen snippets of gameplay, but I never really knew quite exactly what it was. It's kind of really over the top, quite colourful, it's really in your face.
Yeah.
Everything turned up to 11 kind of thing, I think, yeah.
So if you're into that, there you go.
I mean, that is something there does seem to be a bit of hype for. I think a lot of people are probably going to be playing that, so you could definitely expect a considerable amount of footage on YouTube channels over next week, I'm quite certain. Matter of fact, I think the Yogscast has already got stuff on it. I've seen some of their stuff in my YouTube feed this week. Now we have Freedom Wars, which has no artwork apparently.
Yeah, I wondered that.
It's described as a multiplayer action game for the Vita. Well, that's a descriptive one, yes. And has 8-player co-op. It's a recovery multiplayer action game. It's really...
You're not giving much away.
Yeah, guys, a little information, please. Your game's almost out. I'd like to know what it is by now. So I have no idea what this is.
Just a little information. Goes a long way.
It features a lot of features, but the features don't really tell you what they are. And their screenshots just involve a weird digital eyeball thing.
Yeah, it's not very helpful.
Not terrifically. The Unfinished Swan is out on PS4 and PS Vita, a first-person puzzle game for the PlayStation Network revolving around mechanics that allow the player to slowly reveal the world around them. That sounds vaguely Mystish, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it is. Oh, God, looking at the screenshots, that's crazy. That's... Oh, I feel like Have I seen this before? I might have seen this before.
Remember.
I'm just going by screenshots, but it's kind of... It's all black and white, and it's just kind of... Everything's revealed by splatters of something, and I vaguely recall hearing about a game, I can't remember when, I feel like this was ages ago. Actually, these screenshots are from 2008, in fact, so that would probably...
That would give it away that if it's a re-release.
It may actually be. It does also say released October 17th, 2012, so it's still a long development regardless. It's a weird little quirky PlayStation Network title, apparently developed 2008 through 2012 at least, which, yeah, I guess you sort of unveil bits of the world by splattering colour onto them, and it's all done sort of black and white. Very intriguing little concept. So I don't know what they're doing there. Oh, PS4 release, I guess it was already on PS3 and Vita, I guess.
Yeah, it must have already been out.
One for you, Michael.
Yeah, I saw this. This has got me slightly excited.
Well, why don't you tell us what it is?
It is WWE 2K15, out on October the 28th. If you've not guessed.
Something about burly men in tight underwear.
Yep.
Grappling with each other
in
a homoerotic way.
Ooh. Oh, we could fall out. But yeah, I am a pretty big wrestling fan. I'm not going to lie, the last version that they released, 2K14, I wasn't overwhelmingly enamored with. So I'm interested to see what they've changed for the next generation consoles.
It claims more realistic looking character models.
That,
That's probably about it. I mean, a lot of your sports games, honestly, they
Yeah,
don't do a whole lot year on year, do they? So, or not.
well, WWE games haven't changed massively since 2008.
Time in
9.
memoria.
Yes. Since they had any games.
Oh no, if you play WF Attitude, which was in 1999, and compare that to WF SmackDown, it's night and day.
I'll take your word on it.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to rush out and buy a copy just to see if I'm right.
My wrestling expertise was listed to The Simpsons wrestling on the PS2, I think, or possibly even PS1.
Oh yeah, I remember that game. That game was terrible.
That game was awesome. I loved that game. It was a fantastic game.
You have played me on a wrestling game before at Mash, actually.
Have I?
It's the only time in a video game I've beaten you, and it will be the only time in the history of mankind I will beat you at a video game.
I must have blanked that memory out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a special place in my heart.
Okay then. We have SingStar Ultimate Party for PS4, PS3, and
What makes this an ultimate party?
because it's got Kylie Minogue on. I don't know.
Oh, that just every other version of SingStar. No, this is not this is a party, but it's not an ultimate party. Kylie Minogue's here. It's an ultimate party.
It also has One Direction's best song ever, so that's obviously got to be good.
Yeah, it was the best song ever.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't lie in a song, would they?
It's not Tenacious D's tribute.
No, it's not. But
Well,
that wasn't the greatest
That
song
wasn't
in the world,
actually
really.
the greatest song in the
It was
world.
just a tribute.
Yeah.
I'm now in a weird, horrible world where that Tenacious D song is based on that One Direction song.
Oh God.
Just imagining the devil going, "Ah, the hair's too perfect."
This also apparently comes with the ability to transform your phone into the game's microphone. Just in case you're too cheap to buy a microphone, basically. I wish to play a singing game, but I don't want to actually buy a microphone. I want to do it the cheapskate way.
Singers singing to their phones now. Pretty sure that's a thing.
And I'm pretty sure the soundtrack is fairly similar to Disney's Fantasia from last week.
Fantasia.
It's got Lord Royals on there. I'm pretty sure that did, so it must be the same thing. They're pretty much the same game. I don't know. It's pop tripe that I don't particularly care for.
Pop tripe.
Pop tripe, yes.
Technical term.
If you want to give me SingStar classic rock from the 80s, hello, I'm listening. But until then, I shall move on.
Right.
Tiny Troopers Joint Ops. Mobile games Tiny Troopers 1 and 2 combined and reworked into console twin-stick shooters. Well, I like the word twin-stick shooter. I dislike the mobile game bits of it, unfortunately. But, I don't know. There are no screenshots and zero information.
I thought you were big on mobile gaming since Germany.
I was big on mobile gaming in Germany, and then since then I had a PC. So, no.
No loyalty.
We have Disney's Big Hero 6 Battle in the Bay.
Okay.
Anyone?
No.
No.
Hang on, I'm having a look at it.
Well, I presume it must be reasonably well if there are, like 5 of them before it, but I've never heard of it. Apparently based on a movie? Anyone?
Still no.
No, I've never heard of Battle of the Bay, the movie.
Okay, so that's something for people who watch more Disney movies than us. Probably a kid's thing, to be honest. Costume Quest 2, the sequel to Costume Quest, out on PlayStation versions of things. It's obviously already out on PC. If you want it on PlayStation things, you can have it on PlayStation things now. I never did My man at Midnight City. My man at Midnight City never did come through for me with a review code, so I didn't ever actually get to check that one out. But you know, there you go. I did look up some other reviews, and everyone was just kind of a bit sort of cool on it. Everyone's just like, it's more of the same, and the first one kind of outstayed its welcome a little bit by the end as well. So it's just more costume quests. You get to dress up as things and do combat with each other. Oh well. So that's more Double Fine for you. Hey, welcome to the Double Fine podcast, where all we do is rag on Double Fine for 2 hours.
And get paid just amounts of money for doing it.
Home. That's interesting. What's this out on PS4? That's obviously been out on. That's one of these games I think that everybody's like, oh, it's not really a game, or it's just sort of. It's one of those arty things, I think. An indie horror game that's been out on everything else since 2012.
Yeah, I have this and I've not played it. Another game that I've not played.
Yeah. I mean, that's the majority of my titles, but
yeah.
Blood of the Werewolf out on PlayStation 3.
I also have this and not played it.
That's also been out a while on a bunch of other stuff, so it's a port to PlayStation. Yeah. Hashtag Kill All Zombies out on PS4. Is a third-person shooter, an integrated social component where viewers on Twitch can vote on various perks or obstacles to help or harm the player that is streaming, which seems like kind of a niche gimmick.
Yeah, that's not mass streamed. That's not a mass thing, is it?
I was say I very much like the idea. Indeed, I've seen plugins for Minecraft that do very similar stuff, and that might even well be where it's inspired by. Or it's like while someone's just trying to play survival on Minecraft, you can say, "Hey, donate $1," and it'll just summon 5 zombies to attack them or whatever. And it's not a bad little way to make money from what I've seen of it. If I could stream, I would be doing it.
Oh, dear.
But. Yeah, I guess inspired or derived from that kind of thing. I like it, but I like the idea. But if your entire audience is only people who stream on Twitch, that's kind of limiting things, is it not?
Probably not going to make too much on that.
How do you sell this to the rest of the people who aren't going to be streaming on Twitch? Yeah.
You can't.
Well, I presume they can play, but they get the entire gimmick, the entire unique feature of the game is presumably limited to people who aren't streaming on Twitch because they won't get that. That doesn't make much sense. Or maybe there's a button at the side that says "Pretend people love me and are wanting to see the zombies."
Yeah, I'm sure that's how it works.
Pretend someone typed #zombie at the side. Yeah.
You want me to face a zombie?
Currency.
So, MX versus ATV Supercross. Is this not already a thing?
Probably something very similar.
As Nordic Games brings back the MX versus ATV franchise with this downloadable game. I like to say, this will be the first game in the franchise since last year.
So it's been lost for a long time.
Yeah, it's like when you market it, normally it's like something. If you're rewriting after 20 years or something, you might say that it's like, this will be the first game since 2013. Okay,
Long wait.
so yeah, it's a racing game of some sort that I'm not really up on. I seem to recall it being reasonably popular, mind you.
But is it as
NBA
popular as
Live-
the next game?
As popular as the next game. NBA Live 15. Is this the one with the funny faces? I think it's the one with the funny faces.
Yeah, this is the one Sunil mentioned, isn't it?
The one where it tries to scan your face, but you end up looking like a Burns victim. Look up, if you've not seen it, look up NBA Live 15 on YouTube, and I suspect that most people who are doing it will have documented the face scanning thing to some extent just because it's so stupid. The guy I saw was BOO is a channel I watch, and he's been playing this game, and yeah, the first couple of minutes of it was just a montage of shots of him standing in front of a camera trying to get it exactly right in the right place with the right lighting, and it still managed to put like his eyeballs on the top of his head or something, and it's like, or his face just looks melted.
Wow.
or on sideways or something. It's like the face. Eventually, he did get something that looks reasonably passable as him. The main issue really being that the main protagonist, i.e., you in the game, is, well, whatever you are. You design your character, I guess, and put your face on it. So BOO, he's just this white dude, but they only got one voice actor, and it's a black dude. And the voice just does not sound remotely right. He's got this real white dude who's like, and it's just a black voice actor. Just his voice doesn't fit the character in the slightest. It's like that voice does not belong on that person at all.
It's like the end of Star Wars where Darth Vader takes off the mask.
You're not James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's NBA Live.
It
50.
reminds me of that Family Guy joke where the Muppets have their own voices, and Fozzie Bear comes in and goes, "Who wants to hear a funny ass joke?"
Yeah.
I don't remember that. We have
I saw this.
Go on, then. This one's all yours.
Everything comes back around on the Bomb Mash podcast. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Danger of the Ooze.
No way. We didn't even plan that. That was not planned.
No, we've only just opened this page. And
When do we ever plan?
Yeah, but come on, we were talking about this earlier.
Ooze is making a comeback.
And the ooze makes its way onto Xbox 360 and PS3. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Danger of the Ooze. Yeah.
If you like ooze and turtles, it looks in.
It's just not ooze and aliens. So, unless they're going to do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Alien.
That is one hell of a film.
Which I'm sure Will be queuing up to go see.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna lie. If you play this game and Vanilla Ice doesn't make a cameo, something's gone wrong.
Right. I'm not being totally enthralled by the screenshots, if I'm totally honest.
Oh, this looks like it's quite an old game. I'm guessing mid-90s.
No, I think it's a new game.
Oh, bloody hell!
I think it's genuinely a new game that's out this week. Yeah. It's WayForward and Activision deliver a game to bridge the story between the second and third seasons of TMNT on Nickelodeon.
Blimey.
So there you go.
Yep.
Activision butchering your cherished childhood memories.
Just, but on the bright side, if you've got stocks in ooze,
Things are looking up. We also have, here's an interesting one, Poltergeist, a pixelated horror. That's on Vita. Funny, we were just talking about that one.
yeah.
So that's one I reviewed this week and talked about last week. It's the horror but not horror game. It's a fairly solid puzzle title, but not much more than that. They've got a physics engine. It's like it didn't remotely need a physics engine. You're throwing objects around the house basically in a scripted manner to try and scare people out of the house. It really didn't need a 3D physics engine to do that, but they did it anyway, and I suppose kudos to them, but whatever. It seems like that's way too much than it needed to be. As an actual puzzle game, it's fairly solid, but if you like puzzle games, great. If you don't, you're probably not going to be interested. Nothing really that makes it stand out in any exceptional way, really. On the Wii U, we have Stealth Inc. 2, a game of clones.
Does it involve clones by any chance?
Possibly. Which is a Wii U exclusive sequel to Stealth Bastard, and which I think launched on PC as Stealth Bastard Deluxe. I don't think there was just the Stealth Bastard on Steam, which was... I don't know, it's a game for people who really, really like stealth, really, I think, more than anything else. If you like stealth games.
Normally I don't, but I have made an exception for Alien, so I'm going to rescind that.
Okay.
Can I just point out on this Giant Bomb website, why do the next two games have the exact same screenshots?
What was that?
The next two games.
They really similar, yeah. And they're both, I think, from the same sources of things. We have Gargoyle's Quest 2 and Demon's Crest, both of which look like they're Wii U re-release store things. A Demon's Crest, a game with a big winged demon on the box, released October 94. A Gargoyle's Quest, a thing with a big winged demon on the box, released July 92.
I do think Gargoyles might be based on the cartoon. I seem to vaguely remember.
I love the cartoon.
Maybe. I don't know the cartoon, so...
Oh, another theme tune for me to do.
Yeah, possibly.
I can't
won't
remember the
recognise
theme
it,
tune.
so...
No, I won't recognise it. I did watch it.
I'll YouTube it at some point.
Following up with more re-releases, released something slightly reasonable. We got Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland from October 2002, which it says it's a remake of the original adventure for the NES, so it's a remake of a remake. It's the Wii U remake of the Game Boy Advance remake of the NES game.
You're trying to confuse me, aren't you?
It's Kirbyception.
It's Kirby eating Kirby again.
Oh my god. Mind blown. Wait, you could... Hang on, what happens if you do that in Smash Brothers? Nothing happens, does it?
I don't know.
I mean, presumably I've tried that at some stage, but I can't remember what does happen. I mean, I always played Kirby in Smash Brothers, the
Auto
GameCube
win.
version. Yeah, it's Kirby had 5 jumps. That was
Yeah.
just unfair.
Yeah.
Everybody else gets a double jump and an extra move that's kind of is sort of useful to get back onto a platform if you get knocked off. Kirby could jump 5 times. It's just like, I'm just going to fly over everything. Screw you guys. We also have the Sun and Moon out on PC and Vita, an indie platformer focused on momentum. Created during a 48-hour competition at Ludum Dare 29. I know very little about this. That's pretty much all I know about this, actually. So I can't tell you much more. It sounds very similar to a bunch of other things I've played in recent history about planetary physics, though, if I'm honest, I suspect. Well, I'll do that for the non-Steam releases. Let us bash on with some Steam releases, shall we?
Steam releases.
Hey, he didn't hiss into the mic this week.
Well, judging by the amount of complaints you had, no.
No.
I'm behaving.
Well, I don't think anybody listens this far into the podcast anyway.
That's harsh.
If you are listening, thank you.
And leave a comment to let us know. Prove me wrong.
Tell us at what point you stop listening to the podcast.
We have out on October 27th, tomorrow, we have Mythos: The Beginning, a survival horror adventure role-playing game based on the pulp horror and monster movies of the 1930s.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
Although, yeah, the description doesn't sound bad. It's I think it's got a Lovecraftian kind of thing going on. Admittedly, the actual screenshots of the game make it look a little bit rough around the edges. It looks kind of mediocre. If you watch the trailer, the walk animations are hilariously bad, to be honest.
Oh dear.
But, I don't know. I may be doing it a great disservice. This make me maybe one of the great horror games of our time, but we know what I'm like. Will can report back on that one.
Maybe. If I haven't finished playing Alien before then.
You've then also got The Evil Within as well.
Yeah, I know. I've got my work cut out for me.
And the rest of your Steam library that you haven't
Oh, don't even go there.
We have Fabula Mortis, is a first-person shooter based on steampunk and old fairy tales. That looks kind of weird. I don't know what to make of this. I have asked the developer for a review copy of this one, actually, because I would like to take a look at this to find out what the heck it's about. I could go either way on it. I love the concept. Steampunk's great, and the fairy tale setting's a bit odd. It's kind of... I think it's going for Alice in Wonderland more so than anything else. Kind of slightly dark. I mean, there is a character in the game called Alice who's, like, driven mad by the voices of playing cards or something. I don't know.
Damn playing cards.
Yeah. And, I don't know, it looks like it could be quite good, but I'm also slightly dubious. I don't know, I really want to take a look at it, if nothing else. We have Ascara, The Blade Remains. Do we have that, or is that... Oh no, that's an early access one. We shall deal with that when it comes out.
Moving swiftly on.
Yeah, we've got Lords of the Fallen we already had a look at. We've got Daedalus, No Escape. That one is a top-down shooter in space. Sounds vaguely similar to the old Team 17 Alien Breed kind of things, and honestly, those weren't that great. I'm not even. I know, Team 17 me, but
You preempted me.
I played them to try and get a feel for them before I ever even worked for Team 17, and even then I was like, yeah, these aren't great. These are pretty mediocre titles, and yeah, there's a reason nobody ever talks about these. Somehow they made 3 of them though, so you know.
Yep, so someone liked them.
So it does say it has different control schemes, FPS-like, and it's a top-down shooter. I don't know how FPS-like is going to work, but strange thing. There's one that shows up in this new releases list, which is 0 Point, but apparently that's a movie for the Oculus Rift, so I don't know quite what the crack is with that, and since I own such technologies, I may never know.
A bit beyond us.
We have Blaze Rush is a arcade racing survival game. I like the look of this. It looks kind of like Micro Machines-y kind of thing, or indeed something in fact I have been playing a bit of this week is Wrecked, which is an XBLA title, the spiritual successor made by the same dev team as Mashed, which is the game of my university days. Which is just this is also the team that made Micro Machines in the first place, which is just lots of cars moving around silly tracks, shooting each other with silly weapons, and it looks actually pretty cool, to be honest. I would quite like to take a look at this one, yeah. Looks like my kind of jam. Memories indeed, yeah.
Of my mind.
Yes, it's probably nostalgia for me. We have this one's interesting. Whoa, Dave! It's called.
Oh, Dave.
Whoa, Dave!
Dave, whoa!
Yeah, this looks like the original Mario Brothers, and I don't mean Super Mario Brothers. I mean the Mario Brothers that came before Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, blimey!
Which was it was just a single screen 2D arena thing that you could play. I think you could play it co-op. We had Mario and Luigi, and you could play together. They remade it on the Game Boy Advance, and I played quite a good bit of it on the Game Boy Advance, so I'm familiar with the game type. It looks like that's been remade. I do recall seeing, and now that I've seen the screenshots and all, I do recall seeing this at PAX East, and I think it was pretty brutally hard, actually. It's kind of the original Mario Brothers, if it was made by Vlambeer, I think.
Oh, dear.
That's how I would describe it. It's not made by Vlambeer, but it's like, I mean, because they obviously did the same kind of arena kind of thing. They did Super Crate Box, which was the same kind of single screen 2D arena that you had to go and. This is more jumping on enemies and stuff than shooting things, but similar kind of arena concept.
Yeah.
We have the Forest of Doom, which I feel like we already talked about.
Yeah.
Did we already do that one?
It rings a bell. I can't remember for the life of me what it was.
It is a choose-your-own-adventure story, based on the original story that came in a book format, called The Forest of Doom.
Wasn't this Giant Bomb release a few weeks ago?
Possibly? I don't know.
I'm sure we have discussed this.
We've definitely talked about something about it. It's by Tin Man Games. We've definitely mentioned them at some point in the past. Yeah, they do a lot of these. They've kind of... Their thing for the last few years, I think, has been just literally porting the books to an actual video game format. I think it's mostly been mobile based, but I guess it's making its way onto PC, which I suppose if you like those kind of things, that's kind of cool. I mean, my main gripe with this, I suppose, is that I cheated like fuck when I played the books.
Oh, are you admitting to cheating again, John?
Yes.
Oh, at least you're honest.
It's dice-based, for fuck's sake. If it's like, you live or die based on this dice roll, roll 3 or higher to survive, otherwise you restart the entire book. I'm like, oh look, it was a 6. How convenient. Just what I needed to survive.
It's
slightly
less of you now.
So yeah, you can't, I presume you can't cheat in this. That's the thing.
Oh dear.
There were so many of those decisions where it was like, literally, it's just, roll your dice. If you don't roll a certain score, fuck you, go back to page 1. It was like, no! That's not how books work. I want to finish reading the story, damn it. Stories don't just stop you. I can't just start reading The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and halfway it goes, sorry, go back to page 1 because fuck you.
That's actually physically written in the book.
That's what I'm saying. That doesn't happen. No book does this. Except for these books. For some reason, that was okay.
Maybe it wanted you to feel a sense of accomplishment when you completed it.
Presumably, but I just wanted to read a book, damn it. It's in a book format. I enjoyed reading. Yeah. What can I say?
No, I'll give you that one.
What else do we have? We have Farming Simulator 15. Get hype.
What? Is that actually part of the title?
No, I'm just saying. Get hype.
All right. Yeah.
Game of the year, right there. Come on, guys.
Oh, well, the weather's turning, and now's the time to get into farming, I suppose.
Yeah. So, I don't know what it does different from the last 14 iterations.
Maybe the cows are a slightly different shade.
I'm presuming there weren't 14 iterations. I'm presuming it's 15 based on the fact that we are coming up to the year, but it looks great. It looks visually more appealing than what I've seen of the last one anyway. So if you wanted your farming in higher fidelity, I guess that's a thing.
This is for you.
To be fair, the simulator games usually look like arse. This actually doesn't, so credit to them there. I still have no fucking clue what the appeal is.
Well, maybe you just want to pretend you're in the Archers or something.
I think the Archers would be more interesting.
Just there going,
to be honest.
Just on your simulator tractor going, do 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 do.
So yes, filled with details and visual effects, transporting the farming simulator franchise to a new era. Yep.
Sorry,
if you're into simulators, and I know people who are, that's the thing. NS2 Combat, which is Natural Selection 2 Combat. For some reason, I guess they couldn't type the whole name into the Steam name box or something.
Too many characters.
I don't know, because I mean, Dejaban have tested the limits on that one very, very thoroughly in the past. I mean, their naming conventions for games were literally based around how many characters will Steam letters have. I mean, they did the game that was, a reckless disregard for gravity.
That's a great name.
Yeah, it's a fantastic name. And I think half the reason for that name was just to see what they could get away with on Steam. And yeah, so NS2 Combat, Natural Selection 2 Combat, which I guess is kind of a spin-off of Natural Selection 2 itself, which I don't know a whole heck of a lot about it. I heard about the original Natural Selection, which I guess is kind of a hybrid of RTS and first-person shooter, which is one person does the RTS stuff up above, and they have to tell everybody else doing the first-person shooter bit down on the ground where to go and what bits to do of the mission. Which sounds really frustrating from somebody who does an RTS. It's like if your units aren't necessarily going to do what you tell them to because they're actual people. That sounds really annoying. And I have heard tell it's way more hardcore than even stuff like your MOBAs, your League of Legends, your Dotas, because you've got people who are like pro RTS players in charge of everything, and if you fuck up and don't shoot your target accurately enough, some guy you probably got some 300 APM Korean guy overlord watching over you, trying to make you kill enemies, and you're fucking up. It sounds even more hardcore than that. That one always sounds like, yeah, that's way too much for me. I don't know quite how this one ties into it, to be honest. It's part twitch shooter, part stealth crawler, it says. It's a competitive multiplayer struggle for survival. Now, I have been sent a review copy of this, so I will take a look at this week, but I'm terrified as hell of it.
Oh,
based on what I know of the Natural Selections franchise so far. Like I say, it's always sounded super hardcore, and I'm like, do I want to get into that? I don't know if I do. But I have been sent it, so I guess I'll take a look at it this week.
Cool.
What else do we have? We have R.I.P. This one sounded really interesting. Potentially. I don't know. It's an experimental game which combines 3 genres: FPS, MOBA, and Wargame. And then it says, I love this next sentence is my favourite sentence I've probably ever read in a game description on Steam, which says, "In 2 words, imagine classic shooter with MOBA mechanics." I'm not sure you know what 2 words means, guys.
Yeah.
Firstly, that's 6 words, and one of those words was an acronym of 4 letters that stand for 4 other words. That's not 2 words, guys.
Slight issue.
So, yeah, I mean, looking at screenshots and video of it, it looks like Call of Duty or Battlefield. Honestly, it's modern military shooter kind of thing looking. You got some grey dudes running around a grey environment with some grey guns shooting each other. But with a MOBA in there? That could be interesting. And this is something I was talking to Will just before we went recording. The one thing that really sprung to mind for me, maybe the fact that they mentioned Wargame, I'm not sure how that ties into things, is what if you had Titanfall as a MOBA? And I feel like that would be a really amazingly cool concept, because if the MOBA implies that you have certain superior characters with extra powers and abilities and things which are controlled by the players, and a fuckload of grunts running around that you've got to escort to the enemy base. It's kind of the core concept of your MOBA format. And, well, Titanfall already kind of did that. You had the superior players who could then get into the actual Titans themselves and stomp around, and then you got waves and waves and waves of grunts to make the battlefield actually feel alive, like it was full of things, which is, I think, where the Titanfall connection came into my mind for me. It was like, Titanfall already kind of touched on the escorting grunts in a modern military shooter format. And what if you made that into a MOBA? That could be cool. As like I said, the fact that he's a modern military shooter and that's such a boring genre at this point, it's been so done to death. We'll have more Call of Duties and more Battlefields this year as well, no doubt, in the very near future. Probably they're going to be out in the next few weeks, I suspect, aren't they? The latest iterations.
I don't know. I don't follow these things.
It's usually November time is the Call of Duty season. Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah, get it out for Christmas. So those should probably be popping up in the next few weeks. And kind of, it's like, I don't like that game, but the idea of tying it in with a MOBA is fascinating. I really want to see what it does. I don't think I want to play it, but I do want to see it. Just, yes, I wouldn't want to play Call of Duty in any format whatsoever, but the concept's very interesting, I'll give it that. And then finally we have this one. This one also looks cool. There's actually a lot of interesting looking things this week, to be honest. We've got Buzz Aldrin's Space Program Manager.
Sounds potentially fantastic, but
My first thought was Kerbal Space Program?
you can be trained by Buzz Aldrin.
Obviously Kerbal Space Program already exists as a space program manager kind of thing, but that one is, from what I can make out of this, I think this is a different beast. My first thought is literally build spaceships, fly spaceships, maneuver spaceships and stuff. I think this is more the actual management of NASA. You basically take control of NASA and choose what to research and how to develop it. It's a management sim basically, except you are managing NASA instead of whatever boring dross you normally get. That's not my thing normally, really. So yeah, I think you could also take charge of the Soviets during the space race as well. So it's mid 1950s. You can take charge of US or Soviet space agencies and race to be the first to the moon. And it has been developed, as you might well expect, in collaboration with Buzz Aldrin, giving him advice. Who was the second man on the moon? If you didn't know that, that's the thing you should know. So, I don't know, potentially interesting, but at the same time, I don't know. Do you get to fly the spaceships? That's what I need to know, and there's absolutely nothing that tells me whether you do or not. If you get to fly the spaceships, it sounds like it's Kerbal Space Program with even more management involved. If it's not, it's like these guys should collaborate with Kerbal Space Program and merge their games, because holy shit, man.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Indeed.
So also, the one thing that did spring to mind is this game. If it is just the management sim aspect, this is the game we prototyped very, very roughly during my second year of university for my second year project.
Oh.
We got a team of five together, and we had to come up with a basic game concept and put together a very, very basic prototype with some very limited functionality. And we came up with a space program manager is effectively what we designed, set during the space race. This is my game concept. Well, probably I don't think I came up with it, but I worked on this game concept, which is just mind blown. That's incredible.
Your claim to fame.
I don't think I had any influence on this, but I imagine mind blown if I go and check the credits and find out it's one of the guys I worked with. But, you know, at that point I want some royalties, mate.
Sure, that's how it works.
I'm sure that's how it works. But yeah, that could be cool. That could be cool. I don't know, worth a look at, I suppose. So that'll just about do it for this week. The other things that are on there are like some CAD software. That's Steam selling its weird software stuff these days, I guess.
Yep, that sounds
As
about
they
right.
do. Like, once in a while you'll see stuff that's like, this is for a very specific subset of people who work in a specific industry. This is not for me. And that is the case for that. But that'll do us for today. That is our Steam releases. We've gone on, in spite of me going on about how great our time management is, we've gone on way too long this time, so let's wrap it up.
Okay, you want to sprint through the exit?
Yeah, go on.
Right, thank you very much for listening. We appreciate it very much. If you want more information about Buttonmash, please go check us out on Facebook at,
Facebook.com/buttonmash,
or you can follow us on Twitter at.
Twitter.com/button_mash_UK.
If you want to see our John play some videos and review things on his YouTube channel, you can find that at.
YouTube.com/buttonmashempire.
And you can find us on Steam at.
bit.ly/bmsteam.
That's the smoothest you've ever done that.
It's taken me a little while to remember what I actually freaking picked out for it.
And if you want to follow us on our brand new shiny website, you can do that at.
Oh, we have a brand new shiny website. Oh, wow. That is button-mash.net.
Yep, so feel free to check those out. Thank you very much for listening. We appreciate it.
And don't forget to subscribe if you want to get the podcast every week.
Yep, of course. We want to get numbers up. And keep your ears peeled to the ground for news on Meroka and
yep,
things of that.
and Dungeons and Dragons and everything else we've ever planned.
So one or two might come to fruition.
Maybe.
We don't know.
If you're lucky.
Yep.
It's got about a 50% chance.
Oof, if that.
All right, I'll be honest. 10. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of John,
Thank you.
and on behalf of Will,
Jerry boy.
this has been the Buttonmash Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
See you.
Cheers.